No signings yet. No players yet. Betis for Joseph. We might sell him, we won't. No Archer in. No Armstrong in. No players yet. I just thought that'd be a fun little introduction. Hello, everybody. How are we all doing? Welcome to the deadline day stream. This is going to be a pretty big one, a pretty long one. Planning on streaming for an extended period of time and discussing all of the little deals and bits and bobs we've got going on. I'm going to look through the various bits of chat that have happened thus far. No chance the usual leads. It might happen. It's okay. I've been told we're getting Andy from accounts who can only do the every second week due to childcare issues. I mean, to be fair, Andy might be quite good. Stephen is pulling shenanigans in every single chat that he can find at the moment. It might be increasingly feeling like bedtime, but it's not going to be bedtime in here for at least another 4 hours. I got a couple of guests lined up. I've asked around. If anyone else fancies it, just ping me a message and I'll ping you the link over. Yeah, things are being a little bit quiet. Thank you very much, Gary Paul, for continuing to be a member. It's always much appreciated. I have been reading through the chat whilst I was waiting, which, I mean, that's the thing. Like, as much as there was a little bit of, where are we? I'm going to have a look through the chat just so I can find it. For example, Joe is later than this Leeds January signing. I wasn't late. I was trying to work out how I was going to do that intro thing. Yeah, I was doing it clever, and I've been keeping an eye on the chat. And I had to disagree with this very, very early on. Yorkshire Pearl saying that penny pinching will cost us. I don't think that I could consider this penny pinching because of what we have discovered in the last few minutes, which was very, very specifically. I'm going to find the Athletic article for it just because I know that they have reported it. Give me a second. There it is. I forgot Baron Cross is at the Athletic now. Thank you, Baron Cross, for being such a good time boy and an excellent reporter. That Matteo Joseph is the subject of a fairly significant bid from Real Betis. The comment here is saying that Real Betis have bid 8 million for Joseph. It's more than that. And I'm going to put a message in the chat. Because I can't be bothered doing a banner for this. I'll be completely honest with you. Matteo Joseph. Because if this were to be penny pinching, then we would not see Real Betis making a £10 million plus offer for Matteo Joseph. We would have accepted that like that if this was a case of penny pinching. Because that's a hell of a lot of money for, let's be honest, a centre forward that isn't ready yet. Like, Matteo Joseph isn't currently in the position where he is going to get to, because we know that his ceiling is just through the roof. Like, he's a very, very good player in the future. He's just not that player right now, which is why we're all sort of clamouring for that number 9, because a number 9 in that situation would be absolutely fantastic. But I don't see this one happening in the slightest. And this is for a pretty damn good reason. And this is because we're already looking for a number 9. We're already looking for a number 9 with Mateo's profile, with a little bit more experience, in order to add more depth and more options. And it doesn't add depth and options by taking away one of your existing options, you know? This is another way of putting it, right? Can't sell if you don't buy. This is a damn good way of putting that. 1 second. One sec, need to just sort a thing out. Right, okay, cool. Previously planned guest, Joe Wainman, is now unavailable because he's driving back from Halifax. So that's fun. But it's fine. We got a couple other people lined up. I'm just going to do a little bit of an introductory bit at this point, and then we'll get into things. If Joseph point we need two strikers, that ain't happening. This is where I'm sat, right? Because it's not going to be happening. Like, there's no way we sell a player when we quite badly need to retain, and are already looking at expanding that area of the pitch. Like, it would just be the most boneheaded thing we could ever do, and that's why I feel like that isn't going to happen. Matteo Joseph is going nowhere. You've currently missed a £10 million bid coming in for Matteo, and apparently we made another approach for Cameron Archer. It may have been rebuffed. I'm not 100% sure, but who'd know? Holy, thank you very much, Pete Booth. Got a gift membership today, which I should have sorted out for myself months ago, so here's an overdue contribution. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Oh, getting super chats and stuff always feels like it's heartwarming because I'm always in a bit of a sort of like, I started doing this stuff as a hobby, and to see it grow beyond that is very much like people like the things I do, and it sort of like brings it into reality. Thank you. It's really, really kind. 10 million for a misfiring strike. We paid that for Bamford, who was misfiring for Borough. To be fair, he then had a decent season in the Premier League. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe Matteo Joseph is the next Mbappe, and all he needs to do is go to Betis. Who knows? Where are we? We scored 60 in 30 games. That's almost 50% more than our promotion rivals. Why are some people shitting the bed about us needing a striker? Yeah, okay. So, what I'm going to do is I am going to set out my stall early. I'm going to set out my perspective on this entire thing from the very, very beginning, because I know this is going to be a long-ass stream. And I know that this comment is going to come up time and time and time again, right? One, would I like a number 9? Yes, I would like us to get a number 9. That would make things vastly easier for the rest of the season. 2, do I think it is wise to get a number 9? Absolutely, for the reasons I've listed. Number 3, do I think the club are actively trying to get a number 9? Yes. Hence, all the conversations and bids for Cameron Archer. But importantly, 4, will we be fine without? I think so. So I think whilst this is a very hopeful, optimistic stream, and if we don't sign someone, I'm going to ironically play the funeral march because it's the death of our hopes and dreams and all that kind of shebang, that is a joke. Because I genuinely believe that no matter what, we will be completely fine. I am not spooked. I am not scared. I am confident, regardless of what happens tonight. I just think it will be a very, very nice stream, a very nice hangout, and that's why I'm doing this. So that's why I'm doing it. It's great. Problem for Betis is we're flush for cash, don't need to sell anyone, never mind on the cheap. Yeah, I mean, I think Matteo for 10 million, I wouldn't consider to be on the cheap. But like, that is not a bad fee for Matteo Joseph, and I genuinely think that if we had another number 9, it's something we would consider a little bit more. But I think it's because our supply of players in the 9 is relatively low that we're going to be saying no so quickly to that, rather than anything else. You can have Bamford for 10 million. Imagine if we're just like, yeah, you can sign our high-pressing, energetic number 9 for £10 million, and they're like, yes, we got Matteo. And then, like, we just send whoever it is over in a crate, and they open the crate at the other end, and they're like, fuck, they've diddled us. Just imagine that's how that works. Just shipping over someone completely different to be like, well, I wonder if they'll realise. Yes, the Saudi window shut at the end of January. I didn't realise this earlier on when there was the Willie Gnonto stuff going on. So I accidentally did a misleading. I'm sorry about that. But it's all right now enough. It's all right enough now. Sorry. Words are in the wrong order repeatedly and time again. Where were we? Why turn down 10 million for Matteo? That would be because of the lack of number 9s that we've got. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. I'm I'm going to do what Matty does on Imagine Not Being Leeds, though. And I'm going to make sure I get to every single one of the comments when I'm trying to zoom through. I don't see Arch coming in. That is likely looking to be the case. Guys, please stop commenting for a minute so I can catch up. Thought the Saudis take Bamford. That one's not going to happen. Smash a like and subscribe. That'd be much appreciated. Pop a like on the stream. It'll expand it out a little bit. People hop on in. That'd be really, really kind of you. Thank you very much, amigos. Can't see us signing anyone. It's starting to look that way for me. Yeah. So at the start of the season, I'll stick to my word, far better team than last season. And as proven up to now, the depth is there. No Somerville and Rattay carrying us. Yes, we're able to actually play football across the pitch rather than just left wing and number 10, which is really, really good and promising for us. Is Joseph going then because we're a selling club? We're not a selling club. That's not what we are. We're just a club that's not in the Premier League that needed money in the bloody words. What's it? Fucking when we went down to the Championship. That one for FFP purposes. He's a great player and needs time to mature into the team. This is true. Good evening, Kevin. Are the lights still on at Elland Road? I don't know. I live in Blackpool. I can look out the window and tell you that the Blackpool Tower ones are on, though. I don't know if that's helpful to you. I'm still trying to catch up, but you guys are not slowing down. Any flight plans? Not that I have seen as of late. I'm going to skip any that are just, hi, Carol. Hi, Danny. Hi, Andy, etc. Like this one. Anything solid? Yeah, the bid for Matteo Joseph definitely happened. We definitely turned it down. Something that is from a source that I believe a good 99% of the time has said that we've made another approach for Cameron Archer. I don't know how that's gone yet, but hopeful. I hope that bloke got back to Bournemouth okay. That's the thing. He went down to Bournemouth and back. So maybe there was someone on the plane. I don't know. That'd be nice. Blind shotting and lights out at the Elland Road offices. Oh, that'd be sad. No way Joseph out without a striker in. That's where I'm sitting at the moment. Yeah, but our problem is Meslier. That's not really a problem for right now. I think that's a problem for the Premier League. 10 million for Matteo should be snapped up. Not if we've not got many strikers, guys. Please stop commenting. Just a minute. I don't think we'll see any ins or outs tonight. I'm starting to increasingly look like I agree with you, but I really want to agree with you, so I'm just going to be a little shh. With you, don't want to buy for the sake of it either. This is the right take, in my opinion. I think if we're buying for the sake of having a player, we're going to be making a mistake. Worst scenario, buying 2 or 3 players and not getting promoted, that would be like shooting ourselves in the foot. It absolutely would. That's why I don't want us to buy just for the funds of just buying someone, because people want a new shiny thing. Rankin accepts 3-year deal in excess of a... No, please don't do that. Please don't do that. Does I kind of put it best? You need hands up. What? What about Bog off with Bamford? No, because then we're losing 2 players for 1 player worth of money, so that feels like that would be a bad idea. Is Archer better than Matteo Joseph? Yes, at the moment. I think Matteo Joseph has a higher ceiling, but currently Archer is in a better position. Send Bamford over with braids and 12 minutes on the sunbed. Yeah, maybe it'd work. You can never tell. Turn him blonde again as well. If the 49ers had anyone by now, surely the cat would be out of the bag. Probably. Gnonto to fault. Don't say these things. Oh, guys, I can't catch up. Means not floppy hands. If we don't sign anyone as the team are playing as a team, why unsettle the team? I think you're shouting the word team quite a lot, Pete Hill, but I kind of get you. Like, one signing would be nice to have more options, but I don't think it's the most important thing in the world. Can I see anyone coming in? Time is ticking. Time is ticking. Maybe. I want to say hopefully yes, but I can't guarantee in any direction. Matteo Joseph's an investment. Why would he sell him for 10 million? This is another very good point. He's someone that could improve in the long term. I am struggling here, guys. Please. Scott one on the weekend now is 10 million pounds. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. We'll be listening to Chopin later. We genuinely might, but maybe not. Maybe it will be the Marseille, as I mentioned earlier. That's happened before. Some foreign club wanted to buy John Barnes, accidentally bought Luther, please. Let's all chat about. Maybe the strike went to Man City when he thought it was going to Man United. Oh. I know who you mean. It was really early in the time of Man City being Man City, wasn't it? And Jerry could have clearly run out of steam last season, arguably because we had no rotation, but George Elliott to cover at 10 because Farker clearly would also, yeah. But then again, it's a case of you don't want to jump for a player that isn't right and make that mistake, because that would be a pretty big problem. Yeah, thanks, Joe. That Gnonto news. Yeah. Have a look at last season's summer window and then this season's summer window, and the fact that this entire squad that is at the top of the table right now was basically built by them. They know their stuff. Pigeon, you shit. You just wanted to fill in more comments. I might have to skip a few. I don't know. It is Real Betis at the moment. Let's move to the press tomorrow. It absolutely is. It's the safer approach, I think. So Joe, I'm here. Have we signed anyone yet? Not quite yet. No. I'm still optimistic, but that's because that is basically the tagline of this channel. Joe Blackburn, permanently optimistic. That kind of vibe. Archer's numbers aren't that great. They're not in the Premier League. They are in the Championship. You might be right. We don't know yet, but I'm still hopeful. You know, there's no point being like, it's done. I've covered that one, I think. But Betis. Pretty sure there's a plane at Bournemouth to Leeds at 4 and coming back at 6. Yes, I saw that. It's not the same plane as the one from the summer window. This one is a twin prop rather than a jet. So it'd be weird if it was. But, interestingly, this one's a very fun fact. It could just be precautionary, but I have heard from someone that Leeds have booked out. What's its name? They've booked somewhere out for a medical at some point, although it's very likely to be precautionary as a just in case kind of deal. I'm going to skim through that conversation just to see if I can find what it was. Crown Plaza, no. Can we sign players subject to a medical, i.e. do the medical later? No, you need to have the paperwork done and completed and registered by midnight, and you need to at least inform football associations by 11 p.m. 11 p.m. is the deadline, but you've got another hour for paperwork. That's a very weird approach to it. I'll have a bit of... We'll have a little bit more Kinnear discussion once I'm caught up, is the way that I'm going to put that. But I've got thoughts on it. Why do we think Matteo's a higher ceiling? What's he done show that? The fact that he is a child, and as people get older, they get more good at football, as a rule of thumb. I think we need centre-back to cover with Pascal and Wilbur injuries. I think we're okay at centre-back, to be honest with you. We've got Ampadu can drop in there. Gillowogi at a push can drop in there, and that's already assuming 2 injuries. DeBayo is probably worth a shot at some point. Hard to say. Don't sign anyone beat Coventry 10-0. That'd be beautiful. Armstrong getting legs. He's had legs for a while. I think that's what enabled him to play football, because at the end of those legs were feet. That was a silly one. Hope this doesn't bite us in the arse. Squad depth is critical. It is, but yeah, it's. I would still like a 10. A 9 would also be nice, but hard to tell. Robinho, that's the one. I'm not going to go through everyone saying Robinho. Joe Wayne was against you in Yorkshire today. I don't know why you take his put downs. Because Sean is very easily put down. And the reason that you can do put downs in Sean's direction is you know that it's mutually friendly. Whereas there are some people where if you say anything against them, they'll take it as like the most horrible thing they've ever heard, which is not a very good position to be in. But it's the internet and people mistake tones all the time, so it's fine. Player or no player, we're going up. Best team, best squad, scoring goals, fun. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Carrots. Why carrots? Messi on loan. Imagine. I'm going to write one-word replies until I'm caught up, is what I'm going to do now. Lufthansa hit the 49ers. Complicated. I'm thinking about have anyone come in, but it'd be nice surprise if we do. Agreed. Calling us Yanks like it's 1865. Revolutionary. I don't know. I was picking something. I didn't sign anyone. Maybe fence sitting. That's the one word that time. Better than being called after the other lot, Clem. Apparently, a lot of people don't go this season. I don't think we struggle for the top 6. I think we still end up playoffs next season, but I still think it's not a risk that we should be taking. Bit spooky. Coming in on the megabus. Yeah, just imagine if we weren't doing airports anymore, but we're doing megabuses instead. That'd be nice. The pick from the Tanaka plane. Oh, what a day. I love that day. Should do everything in our power to actually get promoted, not think about when we reach the destination first. I'm confused. Oh, right, I get you. Right, okay, never mind. Jesus, it's hard to keep up. I don't know how, like, Weidman does it. Like, there's so many of you. There's biters in the arse. Maybe, but I'm feeling roughly okay about the whole thing. Who are we most likely to sign? I think currently the one we're most likely to is Archer. But even that is not the most promising. We saw Leeds each first and not sign anyone, then have 4 or 5 get injured to be out for the rest of the season. Don't. We're not doing that. We're not doing that conversation. Can we sign a pigeon? I think there's many in the rafters of Elland Road, so I don't think we need to sign them if they're already here. We tried FC, PSR, FC, Orzwick FC. Right, again, right. We have evidence of doing multiple bids for Cameron Archer and for Kusanov. So if we're coming into it being like, you say you tried, there's evidence of it. Come on, let's not get daft. No one coming potentially. That's a little bit squiffy. Not all doom and gloom, top of the league, and the run we are on a good run of form. With me, I can take it. I know it's just opinions. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like a lot of people on the internet, if they're having like any form of disagreement, problem. But that's not the case. Did mention the square ball last season that Cameron Archer was one of the top targets, but when they couldn't get him, they went for Pirro instead. I mean, they're very different profiles, right? Which makes things a little bit confusing. Hard to say. Any truth in the Lubicic link? I've just remembered from somewhere. Not anymore. I think he went somewhere else. I can't remember where. But as discussed, I wasn't fancying Lubicic anyway. He wasn't fantastic. Have a good friend who follows Millwall said Tanganga left their training ground for Leeds this morning. That feels very unlikely. Tanganga is absolutely not in our style of signing, and I hugely doubt that. If that did happen, I would be very confused. Teams seem to be taking the approach that Leeds that they do with the actual 49ers, target approach, studying players with an emphasis on building within goals to suit two Super Bowls. A very well thought through comment, which means that what are you doing on Leeds YouTube? No one does those. Got your like button, Joseph. There was a bid for him, 10 million quid. Decided to not. Which us turning that down is a very, very good sign, and I think it should is doing a lot of work. Relatively silence the people that are going a bit head loss on the 49ers just wanting to make a profit thing. Because if you were doing that, you would sell the young player for £10 million. But that didn't happen, so it's fine. We have a little bit more of a addition from The Athletic. To expand on what was previously said about Matteo Joseph. The league aside inquired about the availability of the under-21 international ahead of the window closing, but the championship leaders shut down the possibility over the weekend. Joseph ended a wait of 3.5 months for a league goal on Sunday, blah, 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 played second fiddle. Cameron Archer is Leeds' chief target as deadline day began, but with the final hours ticking away, there's growing pessimism about a deal with Southampton. Adam Armstrong emerged as a slim possibility briefly, but Leeds never pursued him seriously. As it stands, Joseph will continue to compete with Pirro as Farke's main striker for the final 3 months of the season. That's not the most promising of responses that I've ever seen, which is a potential issue. Because as responses go, that one is a little bit no, it's not happening, which is sad. But that's okay. We ain't signing anyone. Good night. Oh, let's not do that. Come on, got 2 Super Bowls, 40 triders. Look, they tried. They did their best. They did their bestest. How many have they won recently? That's like saying how many FA Cups have like the Premier League winners won recently. They won. Is it the NFC or the AFC? Where's Crystal when you need her? NFC. Either way, they've won that championship twice, and that's the one that's an actual league format. So, well, it's league-ish, and then it's playoffs. Stupid. I don't think we're desperate for a signing. However, when we go, we should look at Troy Parrott during the summer. Yeah, I don't think we're super desperate either. I think that's why we've not just jumped on a name. Because in the past, everyone's complaint was, look, Leeds are just going for warm bodies. And then we're not just going for warm bodies. We're saying if we do sign someone, it'll be someone of a decent level of quality. But also, that's the wrong answer. Like, you can't do both at the same time. You either hate that we just sign in some warm bodies sometimes, or like I don't. It's odd. They're two conversations that oppose each other, but the same people are going to make the same argument every time, which is a bit wild. What's your supercomputer predicting Leeds total points for the season? I don't have a supercomputer, But I do have a stupid brain, and it's very stupid. But it sees that we are... What number are we at the minute? 63 points? Let's have a look. Come on, Flash Score. Give me a hint. Come on, Flash Score. This might take a moment. Pete has said 63. I'm going to trust Pete. If Pete is lying to me, then I'm going to permanently ban Pete from the channel. But I'd say, yeah, it's 63. I knew it was 63. That's why I made the ban threat. 63, 16 to go. I think that we win 9, which gets us to 90. 7 more based on that. I can see 94, 95. That feels like a good number. And honestly, I think we do more than that. I think recently I said 96 or something. But between 94 and 96 feels like where we're going. Which club offered 10 million for Matteo Joseph? It was Real Betis, which is the club that we thought were really interested in Junior Firpo, but it turns out that isn't the case. I'm now just going to scroll down and actually just catch up with the chat, because it turns out going through absolutely everyone is a pain and it takes forever. If Leeds do get Archer, what position will Farke play him? As he's played as 10 as well as 9, he likes Aaron. I think with the Archer conversation, that's going to be a conversation in which we play him wherever is suitable for that specific opponent. So, for example, if we're against someone who plays like a Burnley in a really low block or something along those lines, then you could go Archer and Aronson, and then you've got the running to get in behind them, because Peru wasn't getting chances in that match. I think it's a case of it gives you the flexibility because he's just a good footballer in the attacking third, and I think that is sort of what we need at the minute. Are we still under any FFP restrictions? Apparently not. I have read that we are reportedly not being FFP'd up the chuff because of what we did in the summer, which is good, and presumably that is contributing to not selling Matteo, because that would be a vast FFP profit if it came down to it. 103 is a hell of a prediction. I don't know if we break 100. Mid-90s feels right. How old is Harry? I think 16. I don't think he's not good enough to play for the senior side yet. I think he scored his first 21s goal recently, but I don't know. Plus 96 will probably be our goal difference. Our goal difference is going to be stupid at the end of the season. Like, I think our goal difference... I'm gonna take a wild prediction here. I think by the end of our season, our goal difference would be high enough to get into the playoffs if it was a points tally. That's what I'm going to be saying. At the end of the season, take our goal difference as points and it gets in the playoffs. That feels like a stupid shout, and it might be, but it's a shout that I'm making, and a shout that I choose to commit myself to. So let's do it. It's fine. Win the next 7 home games, draw the next 9, and where we go up. Do you think we sign anyone? It's becoming less. A signing is looking increasingly unlikely. How Leeds would it be if we got a record goal difference and still didn't go up? That would be violently Leeds, and I don't want to. No, let's not do that. Let's not even have that conversation. I'm not entertaining that concept. We are not going to be in a position where we get that many points and that higher goal difference and still don't get promoted. Not going to happen. Win the next. I've done that once. Sorry, guys, my question wiped out 100 questions. No, that wasn't your question's fault. That was me having brain fog to blame. You have done nothing wrong. It is all good. Sky News reporting no new signings for Leeds. Are they? I'm gonna have to put on like 6 different live streams from 6 different media organizations and try and work out which of them is going to be the most accurate. I'm going to refresh Flight Radar though and see if anything new has popped up, because it'd be quite good if so. Just check Twitter. Apparently, Bamford's been seen leaving Carrow Road. I'm not going to believe it since it's Twitter, but who knows? That'd be a very weird signing for them. It'd be very un-Norwich at the minute because they've just gotten rid of Ashley Barnes, who was an injury-prone striker in his 30s. And I feel like bringing in Bamford to make up for that would be a bit of a wild one. Hurdling Leeds at Gnonto price at 50 million. Yep, I think that was a big old no, just fuck off. We're not going to have this conversation price, which is a good thing to do, I feel. You're at the same old we tried line even when we left it at the last minute again. Right, okay, so people are pulling the we tried stuff in reference to like the summer window as an example. And you look at the last summer window, and it was a very, very, very good transfer window by like almost all metrics. I need to get rid of a few tabs here because I've got many. Oh, I've accidentally lost my bloody flight radar tab. Well done. Cool. Oh, flight radar has nothing. Nothing new. Sorry, folks. The jet washers have lost. But people are using that same line in reference to the summer window. In summer, we did so many deals. Like, quite a lot. So last summer, we did Schmidt, Tanaka, Vogel, Ramazani, Rodon, and Cairns, and Rothwell, and Solomon. That's a hell of a lot of footballers coming into the club. And I think the fact that we pulled the we tried line for one of those positions, which was a number 10, isn't some big spooky we're done thing. It's a little bit of a like fine, like that's okay. That's not a problem. It's not game over just because like we didn't sign a 10 in the summer. Pop that there. Cool. Nothing on Sky Sports News. Thank you very much. I am using you guys as my eyes and ears a lot of the time. Like I am a hawk on Twitter at the minute, just trying to keep a track of what's actually going on. What's the other match? Is it Sunderland Borough, maybe? Well, I'll whack that on in the background. Just out of curiosity more than anything. Okay. We have enough quality to get the job done, but we don't want to be shot on cover if someone gets injured. That's where I'm sitting on it at the moment in terms of, like, you got to make sure that the numbers are okay. Because if we get injuries, then you got problems. I am moderately lost, though, because I shrunk my thing down again. Sorry, that's my bad. Another pointless deadline day, or as most people know it, Groundhog Day. Counterpoint. We signed Willie Gnonto and Rafinha on deadline days. Ha 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 ha. They were good. And I don't think anyone in these chats would complain for a moment if we were to sign a Rafinha or a Gnonto again. It's one of those where it's a pretty damn good deal. Blackburn, I think. Blackburn? What? A Blackburn Blackburn? Or have I missed something? I've probably missed something. I know it's insane. I'm trying to not look at the number because I'll get scared of the number. But at the same time, I know it's a big number because I can also see the chat just like going and it does not slow down. But I'm enjoying it. It's a good time. Plus 61 goal difference at the end of the season. Ooh. You're thinking we had another 20? That's not a bad shout. That does cause a problem for my goal difference equals points equals playoffs prediction, though. So I'm going to ignore it for now. If you haven't yet, by the way, hugely appreciate you popping a like on the stream. It's very, very, very useful, and it helps things to get pushed out a little bit, which is lovely. And that just keeps the channel ticking. And if you're not subscribed yet, go and do that as well. It's one little button down here, and it's always very nice. And the ADHD part of my brain likes it when the number goes up. because it's like number ticklishness. All right, I'm going to catch up again before we introduce the first guest. I've got like 3 guests at various points. What time is Joe's live tonight? I'm not telling you because then you will leave. Got to also think that at present, bringing new players to the club may disrupt team morale, etc. That is also a feasible thing that can happen. But I think that's why we've done a lot of emphasizing, like, any player that comes in has to be a good person. Because there are lots of footballers that are not good people. Angus used it before. Cody Gakpo, CDK, Gnonto only came because we failed to get it. That was less Angus's fault and significantly more Andre Radrizzani going, look at Gakpo, we signed Gakpo. Oh, shit, we didn't sign Gakpo. Look at Bamba Dieng, he's a shiny... Oh, yeah, fuck, he didn't get on the plane. We got a guy from Switzerland. That'll do. And then you sort of end up wherever you are. We did not play Willie as a 10 to rest Brendan Aronson. Look, not everyone's Willie can be a 10. But I personally... Sorry, I was watching Guest at the bottom of my screen taking a drink, and I was like, I'm going to do something funny right now just to see how that reaction goes. I wouldn't. I don't think he fits in that role. I'll be completely honest with you. I think that would be a little bit of a problem. I'm glad you guys appreciated that. Joe, don't be making those jokes. I'm sorry. I'm childish at heart. It's who I am. I can't help it. Anyway, I'm going to introduce guest numero uno, and we will have a little bit of a brief conversation. And we will, yeah, it'll be nice, and then we'll keep on nattering. And good lord, I'm 44 minutes into a stream that I'm going to be doing for at least how do time work? 3.5 more hours. There we go. I just came in as Joseph leaving. No, we have rejected a bid from Real Betis for 10 million quid plus. It isn't Evie, although Evie is scheduled for later. It is, in fact, the good, the wonderful.
Hello.
How are we doing?
All right.
You see, there was a little bit of me that was like, do a funny here, and I can just look. I don't want to kill him because he's waiting to come on the stream, but at the same time, he's taking it. And I've not seen an actual spit take happen, so we got to go for it. So that's why the childish jokes came in. So I got a bone to pick with you.
Oh no!
It's a mighty bony bone. Like having Willie as a never mind. Someone has been doing YouTube community posts asking if we are We Tried FC. Now, as a repeat guest of the Joe Blackburn channel, you know that we're about positivity around these parts. You know that we're optimists.
Yeah.
You know that it's a good time. We're a bunch of good time boys. Explain yourself.
It was more just like, instead of putting no, I just put We Tried FC. You know, people say it all the time, so I just put it out there.
You did,
but like, I look at what we have, right, and I think, like, honestly, we're fine. But there is that little bit of me that's worried if we don't get top 2, because you know what will happen.
Yeah, you know how playoffs are, and if we put ourselves through, yeah, that's going to be unfun. Yeah, I've already promised myself that even if I can get to Wembley this time out, I'm probably not going to, purely because last time was just nightmare times. It was, good lord, that was something. Like, it's a nice ground. It's a wonderful stadium, except it's not a good football stadium. It's very clearly more designed for various concerts and things. Oh, dear. I don't want to go back. I don't want us to have to go back. That'll be pain. But I'm in these shoes, David. No playoffs. Yet to see a score. Been to all 3. I don't think we've scored once in the new Wembley, have we? Which is
No, we haven't scored a single goal.
which is depressing, which is absolutely horrible. But what are you thinking on the Matteo Joseph stuff? Whilst I, for a minute, need to mute myself and send a message to a couple of people. Go.
It was a shock, to be honest. Did not expect that, honestly, boys. I did not expect that. Like, I was like, I think I just woke up from I'm gonna take a nap now because I was tired, and then I woke up like 3 hours later, and then the first thing I see is Matteo Joseph 10 million. I'm like, if he leaves, but in my opinion, if he was gonna leave, it means we have someone to bring in, because I don't think the club would sell someone like Joseph if we don't have someone to bring in. So I was like, if he does go, it could end up being a positive with us getting a better player. I like Joseph, and I think he's good for the future, but I hear about the future so many times that I just want to focus on the now for once. And with Joseph, like, I think it looks like I hate, like, when I do my watch-alongs and stuff, it looks like I hate him more because of the people on Twitter that say he should be starting. That annoys me because I don't think he's near the level of even Pirro. I mean, I would still say Bamford's our best striker, but a lot of people would disagree. But he's not even on, like, he's not on the level of Pirro. Like, I think Joseph is that impact player you want off the bench with his pace. Like, he's got the pace. He's got the good movement. He feels like the Bamford, you know, if he just improve, like, he's going to improve, but because he's young. But if he just gets that bit of his game, you know, the football IQ wise of where to run, how to run, because if he gets that working like Bamford does, he will be a top striker. And because I do think he will become a better finisher than Bamford, even though, like, I love Bamford, but I think he'll become a better finisher. And if he has that into his game, plus, I think I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out in the future also that Bamford's helped him a lot, especially in, like, his younger, like, during now and even before now. Like, I see a lot of what Bamford does in Joseph, which is why I like him as a striker, because that's the type of striker that I like. So I would like him to stay, but next season alone will be probably the best for him, in my opinion. Maybe to, like, a mid-table championship club, maybe a team pushing top 6, maybe like a Middlesbrough, wouldn't mind. Or I'm trying to think of someone else.
Yeah, I was having this conversation with someone. I can't remember who it was. It might have been Joe or something. But I remember us having a chat and saying, like, I think the best thing right now is we just keep Matteo for this season, because if we get an injury, we probably need to have someone around. And then if you go a little bit beyond that, and if we do get promoted, then it becomes a case of, cool, now you can go on loan to Preston. That was the example I used, because Preston are a side that you know are always going to be in the Championship, are always going to be somewhere between 10th and 14th, not at risk of relegation, so you know they're going to get some chances to score goals, not at risk of promotion, so you know that they're not going to get a little bit uppity and be like, well, I want to move here now because we got promoted and I'm part of the team. It's like a Stoke. It's one of those towns that, like, no one can have a passion for. So you've not got any risk of losing your players to them, because it's Stoke or it's Preston. They're all just sort of, you know, shit Lancashire town is what you want to go for. Maybe Huddersfield, if you're like, you looked at that dog a bit funny one time. Beyond that, what are we thinking on Archer? What's the vibe looking like?
Don't think it's happening. I just don't.
Are we going full negativity? Not going to happen for us.
It's not negativity. I just don't see it. I would love it to happen, but I just don't see it. Because, I mean, people now look at the squad and they say we've got a really good squad, and people complain about certain players in the team and on the bench and stuff. If we bring another attacker in, whether people like it or not, and Bamford's fair, Bamford's on the bench, because you're not going to have him not on the bench when he earns more money than any other player. And if we bring in one of the top owners, right? He's one of the top owners.
Sorry, I read a report that confused me a little bit. Just keep going. I'm going to double check.
Anyway, so it would have the other attacker. So it would have, just say we have an Archer. So you'd have to bring him in, and then who would you take out? But I look at the bench and I'm like, people would say Gulavogi, but then what? You're losing another defensive midfield player for another attacker. We've already got enough attackers on the bench, so you're looking at Gnonto, Joseph, Ramazani, and these players, right? But when you're looking at it, Gnonto and Joseph are probably the bottom two at the moment in the attacking wise, I think. Which is mad to say Gnonto's there when at the start of the season everyone thought he was going to be, the Somerville this season. But it looks that would make it feel like Joseph's definitely not going to make it, and he'll be back in the the under 21s, whatever it's called, under 23.
Yeah, 21s, I think.
21s.
Hello.
Yeah,
We have an update from Wacko. Time to call it a night, chaps. 100% no ins or outs tonight. Any article you see on social media linking us with anyone in the next few hours will be nonsense. Now you see, I don't know if I believe it, because anyone can say anything on the internet. So I'm going to wait for that to be more widely sourced. And it kind of depends on who said it on Wacko, to be honest with you. The unambiguous, I refuse. No, I'm watching Monday Night Raw tonight anyway, which is on in 5 hours. So no, I refuse. What on earth is this conversation? So much ramble. Oh, CJJ, are you new here? Are you new to this channel that is just a conversation that... Did you miss the stream a few years ago? Not a few years ago, a few months ago. Jesus, I've got a head scramble going right now. In which I had a little bit of discussion about various bits of philosophy with the chat. That was good. We opened up Questions Corner. We talked about free will. We talked about death, which was weird. We talked about everything. This is normal. This is the most on-topic conversation we've ever done here. So it's fine. You can handle it. It's all good. Your expected relevance. Who do you think we are? Don't believe there was a Georgian flag on Wacko. This is true. Yeah, it's quite hard to trust Wacko a lot of the time because it's just things being said into a void by various people. Sorry, I thought I saw a thing again. I did not see a thing again. Except, weirdly, interestingly, the conversation on the Joseph bid. The report there said that Leeds might let Matteo Joseph go because Leeds are close to signing a striker. I'm assuming said reporter knew very little and isn't in the loop in that particular bit and is just like, oh, Leeds are going to sign Archer or something like that. But either way, it's quite interesting because what if they know a thing? I don't think they will know a thing because if they did, we would have accepted that bid. But it's interesting to think about. I think it's something to add onto the pile of, oh, a bit bizarre. I think I might go watch Sunderland lose. I'm going to pop that on in the background, actually. Does that kick off at 8, I think? 8 UK time, not whatever version of time Matt is in at the minute.
It's 7 a.m.
But it's okay. I will be feeling the same pain as you when I'm working on the Australian Grand Prix next month, which my shift will start at 1:30 in the morning, which is good when it's going to be running until like 8 a.m. Great fun. Where are we? Not going to bed. Not coming. Yeah, it's not worth going to bed just yet, especially when you consider it's not even 8. If anyone's like, "Can we go to bed yet?" It's like, well, okay. If you want to stay in the old people's home, you can do that. But most of us not going to bed. 5 points clear of the playoffs. Is this a symptom of Leeds TSD? I think so. I'm still in the position of being very, very, very confident that we go up. I think, regardless of who everyone around us has signed, like Sheffield United have signed a bunch of players, I don't think that's a problem for us, to be honest with you. I think we'll be okay, because I think we still have one of the most balanced squads in the league. We have the most effective attack in the league. We have the most effective defense in the league. Also, maybe offensive, depending on the mood that Joe Rodon is in. Yeah, I think we're good, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've just seen a comment that is just Grand Prix. Yes, Grand Prix indeed. Grand Prix. Right. Okay. Let's address this one. define selling club for me, Dane. Because there is selling to make sure that you suit regulations, such as PSR, because we spent the entire Radrazani Orta era signing people with like extended, you will be paying for this over a very long period of time clauses in them. So that all needed paying off very, very suddenly last summer. Or you have a selling club like in the form of Brighton, which is you sign players when they are young and when they are promising, and then you sell them for a profit, and then you can sign better young promising players that have a higher ceiling, and then that tallies up and up and up and up, and eventually you build a dynasty off that, which is roughly what I think is what we're doing, right? That feels like the vibe to me.
Yeah.
Unless I'm entirely wrong. I don't know. How many teams get over the 90-point barrier this season? I'm going to say 3. Does 3 sound fair? I think 3.
What, three teams get over?
3 teams over 90 points.
I'll say 2. I'll say 2. I'll say because Burnley are going to draw still like every game. So I don't know if they're going to get there.
I did forget that Burnley do Burnley things. That is a good point. But then again, Sunderland, I think Sunderland are quite good. So they could do it, maybe. Quick question for anyone in the chat, by the way. Never mind, I've found it. We're good. I was going to ask what channel the Sunderland Borough match is on. But I've found it. We're okay. All fine. You have lied to me, Lervish. It's on Sky Sports Football. I'm going to say something controversial. I'd. Oh, come on! You can't do a cliffhanger like that. Unless you've split it into 2 messages. The first message is this one, and the second message has just been purged by every single filter that YouTube has. YouTube on the whole has gone, don't say these things. ITV4. Is it on ITV4? Maybe, but I don't have it on ITV4. I love that Borough are currently showing off Iheanacho as if, like, Iheanacho's just come from Seville and is like, the weather over there, really nice. Comes over and is like, where am I first? About that, buddy. Have you heard of the Riverside? Poor guy. Lights have just turned back on at Elland Road. Ooh, what lights? Which ones? Are we talking about like the pitch lights? Are we talking about like office lights? I think I've told this story on a stream before, right? So you know those like news sites that are just crap. They genuinely put out nothing, and it's like, oh, if you read into a tweet, then something maybe could lead to another domino falling that has a 50% chance of this happening. Those kind of things. I once wrote an article that did something like 40,000 views and got to the top of Leeds United News Now, based on the fact that one of the offices in the East Stand had its lights on deadline day.
The lights are on.
That's how easy it is to get to the top of News Now and just say nothing that matters. It's I can't remember how I headlined it. It was something like Leeds fans see positive sign for incoming signing based on viral image or something along those lines. It's like none of these words are accurate. It's all bollocks. But you know what? I got paid for it, so it's all good. I don't do that on my YouTube channel purely because it's like I kind of like enjoy having a reputation of being someone that cares about facts. But on someone else's website, absolutely every single time. That's not my problem. It's not my problem to solve. One sec, I need to very, very quickly write a banner. So whilst I do so, plug your channel, Matt.
Yeah.
You've gone mute. You're still mute. Oh dear.
Yeah, hello?
Hello, you're alive again.
Okay. Somehow I pressed the mute button. I do not know how. Anyway, you can go subscribe to my channel. It's Matt Leeds on YouTube. I'm at 520 subs at the moment. It's Leeds United previews, reviews through the week, maybe some content depending on what's going on, if there's any news or any stupid takes from Leeds fans. That normally happens. And yeah, I'm normally a watch along as well. And then I normally upload the highlights of the watch along as shorts. Or as I couldn't do that this week because we scored so many goals, there had to be a video.
That's fair. There's a way to edit that down. I'm sure. Hold on. Borough have a chance. Edge of the box. Shot. Blocked. Never mind. Should we just turn this into like a temporary watch-along kind of vibe? That feels like what we're going to sort of go for. I'm outside Ellen Road and Mbappe's just turned up with Jermaine Beckford. Oh my God, we're signing Jermaine Beckford? And Mbappe's his agent? I never saw this coming.
We're signing our fourth choice striker, Mbappe?
No, fifth, behind Harry Crow.
Ah, yes.
You can still got loan players in after the window shows. Oh, this is the limited window, I believe. It's the one where you're allowed to sign anyone as long as they're not in your own division. And it's only by a loan, if I remember correctly. That is important, but I feel like we're probably not going to be signing any Premier League number 10s anyway. So I'd say. Harry Crew. Did I say Harry Crew? Harry Gray.
Harry Crew.
That one. I didn't mean to say Harry Crew. Sorry, Charlie and Harry. Charlie, by the way, having an excellent time at Doncaster, as far as I've heard. But yeah, so what I'm going to do is we're going to draw this little segment to a close. I might ask you back on a little bit later on, but I'm going to do a little bit of watching along for a few minutes. But before you head off, I want one word, one prediction. Do we sign anybody? Yes, no?
No.
No. Well, you know what that sounds like. To me, that sounds like bad vibes. That sounds like negativity. And that means you can get out. You can get out. Be gone.
I'm going. Okay. Bye.
And that was the lovely Matt. We do like Matt. Although the use of the term we tried FC, naughty. No, we don't do that. But lovely having Matt on. If anyone else wants to hop on, just let me know and we'll have a chat about basically everything. Like I'm happy to talk about all sorts of stuff on stream. It's a good time. One sec. Just need to reply to someone. Cool. Right, I'll do it. Sunderland keepers keeping the minutes. It does look like one of those matches where it's going to be an absolute battering. Is that Bill? Did Bill just put in a nice cross? Oh, I've just seen what you mean. That's a banging stop. Okay. Do you think we'll sign anyone? I'm starting to feel increasingly probably not, but I would like us to. Also, I need to update the title. Please send link band. Community watch along. What else do we put in? Archer in, I think. Archer in, question mark. Leeds United deadline day update. Bosh, save it, that'll do. No, nope. It's starting to look. People are more leaning towards nope as time goes on, which is a little bit of a shame, but that's fine. Yeah, of course, 10-9 and a centre back. Oh, I can always trust you to have these positive beliefs that you definitely go for. I'm afraid you did. She's been and gone. She's been on the stream. She left the stream and never coming back. No, she's not. She's not been here yet. She needs to get back from swimming, walk the dogs, and then all will be good and cushy. I'm going to quickly do a refresh of Flight Radar just to see what's going on. And if it's nothing of interest, then that is a bit of a shame, because I'm kind of hoping that we do end up signing someone at this point. I'm going to be a little bit sad if we don't. But, you know, I've had a good time. Borough looking good. Yeah, from what I've seen, they're basically all over Sunderland. And I'm really enjoying that, because, like, Enzo Lafitte is a good footballer, but he's a footballer that is being very much put in his place. by the incredible Bill Ayling. Is Joseph not leaving? I believe Joseph is not leaving. No, I'd be very surprised if he did. Although, like, I think if this was a summer window, we'd probably accept £10 million. Thank you to Mike, by the way, who has just tagged me in the £10 million bid news, which I'm going to see if I can find a little bit more on. It is not on this page. Excellent. But yeah, Betis made the £10 million bid for Matteo. We said no because, I mean, obviously we are low on striker depth anyway. It would be a bad move to sell, I believe, but that's all good. Could do it last January window and announce minutes after the deadline. That would be nice, but I feel like we'd be having a lot more conversations at the minute about what's going on and about completing a signing. Like, it feels quiet, like excessively quiet compared to the standard. Like, usually you've at least got a few names floating around in the ether. Like last time out, there were discussions on Salai, for example, but this time it's just not happening, which is sort of a shame. Anyway, off to thank you, Hiccups, appreciated. Off to Coventry tomorrow. Very, very nice. We do love a cheeky little trip to Coventry. Is Coventry Midlands-ish? I want to say Coventry's Midlands-ish. If I'm wrong, I'm going to feel a bit of a tit. But if I'm right, I'm going to feel fantastic. It's Midlands enough. Yeah, it's a little bit outside Birmingham, which I'm going to give myself the credit for that one. And if anyone wants to take the credit away from me, I will fight you. But to be real sad and leave. But you didn't. But you're still here, so it's all good. Not saying we'll get anyone, but haven't we been surprised close to the 11th hour before? We have, I think, primarily by the Gnonto move was the one that did it. But that was the day when we basically knew that someone was coming in. That was the... It's Gakpo, not Gakpo. It's Dieng, it's not Dieng. It's Gnonto. Oh, it is Gnonto kind of day. And we only learned that it was Willie Gnonto after the deadline. Like, we were told by the club... Not the club, sorry. The first anyone heard about it was Fabrizio Romano, off the top of my head, saying something along the lines of... One sec. Gotta ping the link to someone. Yeah, it was Romano saying something along the lines of, Leeds have signed an attacker, but he didn't specify who, because he didn't know at that point. So it was one of those very, very difficult, very, very complicated ones. Bamford back Millwall game Saturday. It would make sense, I think. It would all add up. Don't forget, normally 9 PM our time, about 4 PM States time when they announce something. Yeah. But then again, we knew that there was a hell of a lot of the board in the UK, so it'd be a little bit odd. I think we just do it for the drama at this point. I think we do it for the don't go to bed just yet. Imagine the hype if we get a don't go to bed just yet tweet this time around. And imagine the pain when it's for selling Matteo Joseph. That'd be incredible. What a day. What a day. Oh my God. Borough winning. Borough winning. Yes. All right, let's edit that. Oh, what's your name? Bergs. Bergso. Give me a second. I will know his name in a moment. Oh, it's Henschref. Why is Henschref keep being given important games of football? He's such a big boy. Oh, that's pathetic. Patrick Roberts gone down pretending he's been fouled. Sunderland defence falls apart. Through ball, just pulls them open. I think it's the 9th minute, that goal. If anyone's got the name, let me know. Bergzog? That's such a silly name. I mean, he can't help it. He was born with it, I'm assuming. Unless he's picked it. But then again, imagine Deed pulling your name to be Bergzorg. It's a choice. It's definitely a decision. Thank you very much for the updates, everyone. I'm not entirely sure that... sorry, I thought you wrote GAT then. I was like, this is not quite what I thought we were aiming for, but that's fine. Talking action flights into Leeds, Bournemouth Airport just down the road from Southampton. This has been a big old part of the conversation. Yeah, it was on my envelope of all of the flights going into Leeds Bradford Airport yesterday because I spent 15 minutes putting together a list of every single flight that was coming into Leeds Bradford today with the time it arrived and where it was coming from, just to see if I could spot any discrepancies. Nothing private has been booked today. Nothing. The Bournemouth one was sorted out at least yesterday. So that was already probably sorted. Which means that it's not going to be related to a player. Unless we've giga-brained it. In which case that would be absolutely fantastic. But I don't know if we've got the capacity for that, big man. I don't think we've got that in us. But I mean, Iheanacho has not scored. Iheanacho has not scored. I know he's not scored. I'm watching. Iheanacho did not score. Not bothered if we don't sign him in this window. I feel like Piru's an underrated striker. He's got 34 goals and assists in just over a season and a half. Archer only has 25 goals and assists in his whole EFL career. I see what you mean. That's a pretty damn good point. But typical funny Dutch name. Is he Dutch? That makes sense. Sounds like a Disney villain. Does closest Disney villain I can think of is Emperor Zurg from Toy Story. That's as close as I'm getting, though, in my head. That is banging ball knowledge. Ritter, not very good in that match, by the way. But then again, no one on the Brighton team was. I'm gonna guess, based on this message existing, it was Bill. But I am uncertain. Oh, I know, I can tell. I can, like, in my mind, I can see you being like, yeah, I did it. Medical staff to take place at the club. This is also true. They can, in theory, be anywhere. And in theory, you don't even need to do a medical. Like, theoretically, you could just be like, yeah, I'll just assume he's fine. And it would be a very stupid move. And it would be a zero due diligence move. There we go. But you could. I wouldn't recommend it, but you could. Getting 12 obviously Rafinha or for current player. But what? Where am I looking? Give me a Leeds player for an edit and I'll make it. Yeah, sod it, Rafinha. What a guy. What a guy. Again, I'm very, very sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Spurs have 20 million for a Steph. Why? Why? Why not just continue to play Archie Gray at centre back? That's going really, really well for them. Black Cats are woken up now. Don't say things like that. I don't want that to be true. I can see that it is true. I'm watching it be true, but I'd rather that not happen. But that's fine, because Patrick Roberts is crap and will continue to be crap, and that's who he is. It feels like a bad name for an alien. It does a little bit. It's sort of like... It's that Doctor Who episode where the writer couldn't be bothered and was just like, I'm just going to pick a syllable that doesn't sound like a word. So it's fine. So future, I'm not doing the whoops. I'm not. I refuse. Have you seen the Peru heat map for the last game? More of that, please, Joe. I haven't. I'll have to go and have a look at some point afterwards. Subbed and like Leeds since 73. Thank you very much. Oh, I appreciate that. Oh. Shot on target. Borough making mistakes. Not good. Okay, it's fine. All of them. Every single one is just noises. Can you give me an audio or not? Right, okay. Is this for... Is this an audio for the edit? Because if so, boy, do I have the music for you. Boy, do I have the perfect music. if you are able to do a footballer skill edit to Bimbus Nimbus by Victor Fuertes, well done. I will show you the name. I'll pop it in the chat now for you. And if you're able to do that, genuinely well done to you, because that is not the vibe a lot of the time. Where were we? I think we're down to the board, not the manager, if we don't sign anyone. I think I agree. I think it's been made very, 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 very clear by Daniel Farker in recent press conferences that he wants it to happen. That Daniel Farker is like, yeah, we need to do a move here, I think. And if we don't, he's made it very, very clear from his perspective what he wants to happen. And that's all he can do at this point. The board can say, look, we're interested in this guy, we're interested in this guy, we're interested in this guy, we're interested in this guy. Who do you want? And then Daniel Farker can respond based on that. But unless the funds are there, then it doesn't become Daniel Farker's issue. Daniel Farker is responsible for picking out targets and stuff. Daniel Farker cannot actively pay the money to make it happen. Which reminds me of a very weird Spanish law, but that isn't super relevant right now. How dare you, John Book? That is rude and horrible. I think we easily win the league with or without signing. This is where I'm feeling at the moment as well, to be completely honest with you. I think regardless of whether or not we make a deal, we're okay. Like, a lot of people like being spooked, and I know that that's what things are like as a Leeds fan. But it's okay, to be completely honest with you. I don't mind. I think we have enough as is, and it would be good to have that removal of doubt by having someone that's that different profile, but it doesn't. It's not end of days if it doesn't work, you know? I believe we would prefer a Borough win. I think they're 6th at the minute, somewhere along those lines. And they look like they're threatening to get a second goal. This is a genuinely entertaining game of football, and it's very much distracting to be like, I'm doing a half watch along. Press will be all about where we didn't sign anyone tomorrow. I think so, yeah. Which, I mean, I understand it. There'll be a little bit of Coventry in there, but I doubt tons. I saw a cheeky little tweet from Graham Smith, and it's just goal, the Riverside erupts. And it's like, that's not what we want to hear from you right now, Graham. Let's not do this. Oh, that's a point. I've not checked the departing flights from Leeds Bradford. Uh-oh. No, that's also the same as it was before. Tenerife and Dublin. If later on I'm looking through it and I come out with more than Tenerife and Dublin, shout at me, because that means that there might be someone leaving. In terms of arrivals, nothing new either. So it's just sort of continuing down the line that we were before, having not got anyone signing yet, which is a little bit of a pain in the ass. The negotiating the sleep, there's nothing to worry about. I mean, at the moment, I think we're fine in terms of squad. Like, you can't force a club to sell if a club don't want to sell. And that feels like that's the case for the Cameron Archer conversation. The concern becomes, where was I going with that? I knew where I was going with that, and then it disappeared. I may have to take a second, but I will find it. Yeah, and I would be more concerned if we signed someone that we just didn't need and we didn't want. Just to say, look, we got someone in, because that would be both a waste of money and a waste of effort, to be honest with you. We don't need to increase the squad if we don't have to. And everyone was fine with us saying this when Bielsa was in charge, because it is something that makes sense. Hold on. Never mind, he skied it. Bloody hell, that looked like that could have been 2-0. I will if you send me it on a Twitter or something. I'll pop it on the stream if you want. How long since we had a team this strong? I want to say the first Bielsa Premier League season, because that was a real strong side. Second season is a tough one, I think. Needs to be more forceful than it's out of the body if it goes tits up. I mean, he might be being forceful. That's the thing. We don't know because we're not behind the scenes. That's why it's a little bit of a struggle. Right, I'm going to catch up again, just because I've fallen behind the comments a touch. A thrashing Cardiff, then we bring some more balls off the bench. I know, it's great. We're just able to do that. We're so flexible, we're so loosey, we're so goosey. It's good. Do I order another bottle of whiskey? As a person that doesn't drink, I would say no. However, there is someone that I believe does drink, waiting to join in the wings. I think so, at the very least. I don't know. I'm uncertain. So let's say hello to one of the rising stars of Leeds United YouTube. Scotty, how are you doing? How are things?
Not bad, Joe. Good, mate. Hope you're all right too. Drink a little bit, not much to be fair. I had to drink for a few shows of the final pint. Obviously, you have to when you mixed it with when you with two of the Irish brothers. But yeah, not a big drinker to be fair, mate. On the Pepsi Max tonight, mate.
Oh, same.
There you go.
Yeah, it's. How are you feeling about everything that is going on and the shenanigans and the bits and the bobs?
Very calm. Very calm. Yeah, it's standard procedure really for deadline day. This, I think, for Leeds fans, we're used to it. What I would say is normally we're not as well placed as we are this time, Joe. To be fair, I think squad wise, depth wise, there's a couple of areas. Obviously, you'd like to see improvement in, but we're asking for a miracle really to get down to the last couple of hours and expect anything to happen when they've had 30 plus days to do something. So quite calm, top at league. You know, last season we needed more. We didn't get it. We didn't go up, but we weren't top at league, you know, when that time came to strengthen. So, yeah, I think the chasing pack have had to improve to try and close that gap. Do I think they've done enough to close the gap? Probably not, mate. Probably not.
Yeah. I think I'm in an agreeing spot where, like, we're comfy enough to not have to force something.
I agree.
Which, like, the big mistake would be, like, look at the last time we got promoted is like the key example, where we were like, do we need another number 9? It's like the perfect copy paste example. Do we need another 9 because we've got the experienced striker that's played in the Premier League a lot and does pretty well, or do we use our young up and coming guy? At that point, Tyler Roberts.
Yeah.
And we panic and we go, oh shit. I mean, I guess we need something. How about Augustin?
How about?
And then we end up £40 million down the toilet because we don't just pay for the fee, we pay for the entire contract.
Mental. The worst transfer business in history of sport.
It
right
was,
up there.
I don't. Yeah, it was one of those where it's like, I think I'm more comfy us not doing anything right now based on what happened then, because we've seen what happens when you rush.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, some people want you to get the business done early because you've got all of January to embed them into the system, get them up to speed if they're not playing games currently. But I do think Leeds would be quite smart about it. I think they've not worried at all. Obviously, there were a bit of. I think if Pascal's injury would have been worse than what it was feared, you know, the press conference a week or so ago when he weren't too sure, I think he goes and gets another centre half if that's any worse. Obviously, I think everywhere else, yeah, it's a bit of a gamble. Pirro doesn't tend to have injuries. Joseph doesn't tend to have injuries. Aronson doesn't tend to have injuries. They're the three people really we can't afford an injury in for me. But it's a bit of a gamble. But you know, it's egg on their face if it doesn't come right. They gambled last year and it didn't pay off. I don't think they'll get it wrong this year, but time will tell, Joe. But for me, like I say, I think it's not my money, so go spend it. I'd rather you go spend it and bring the player in. But I think they believe they're going up anyway. And if you firmly believe you're going up, why spend money? Why spend more money? You know, you're not going to gain anything from that if you're going up anyway. And I firmly believe everybody in that boardroom, everyone behind the scenes at Ellen Road will firmly believe they're going up this year. I don't think that's daft to say. I think they'll all fancy the chances, 100%. Top at league, why not? Why not?
Yeah. I think the number of parallels we've got this season to the season that we went up is something that I'm like struggling to ignore.
Yeah.
So you've got, we desperately need a number 9. Was a conversation we're having now, conversation we're having then. We've got we didn't go up in the playoffs when we arguably should have, and we looked like the best team in the league across the entire season. Happened last season for us, happened the season before we got promoted. And one that I've been keeping a weird eye on because it's actually making me watch Premier League football. Liverpool won the league for the first time since we had gotten promoted the last time out.
Yep.
And where are Liverpool at the moment?
Top of the league.
Top of the league. So this is getting complicated, I think. And I don't like to be someone that's superstitious, but it's adding up a little bit, right?
It is, mate. Yeah, it's hard not to be when you start looking at things like that. You know, I think it's written that we finished top at 3 this year, mate. We get to actually celebrate this time with no restrictions. It's feeling good. I don't think it'll feel probably as good as it did then. And I know I'm jumping good a little bit here, but you know, let's be fair, Joe. You've seen it. You're in this space. You know, you're on here every day. It's not as negative, I think, after that 7-0 in terms of people have sort of resigned to the fact they're probably going to miss out. It's not like a Dan James saga. It's not like last season when you're hoping and praying and really want some business. It feels a little bit calmer today than it normally does on deadline day. And I think that 7-0 definitely helped with that, you know, 100%. I mean, we win 2 or 3-0. You know, it's still decent, but maybe it's not as relaxed as it is today. Because I think most people left Ellen Road on Saturday. I spoke to a lot of strangers walking out. They were all saying, "We're done. We ain't making any signings." And whether that's right or wrong, you know, we don't know. We can't look into the future, can we? But we felt very good walking out of there. And if you're going to miss out on a player on deadline day, best do it a couple of days after a 7-0 winner.
Yeah. There's a little bit of me, though, that sees that it's Coventry on Wednesday. It's an away match on Wednesday. And given absolutely everything that we've learned about Leeds fans this season so far, if we do anything that isn't win by like 3 goals or more,
meltdown.
It's going to be unbearable, isn't it? Realistically, can you see any form of rational response to that match, or is it going to be just?
Yeah, it's got to be a convincing win, or there'll be question marks if we don't do anything today, won't there? 100%, you're right. We're only 1 draw away from meltdown central, aren't we? In some areas of the fan base, which I understand, because when you put the best 11 in the league out on a pitch, they should win, and we do win mostly. But yeah, it can easily snowball the other way. I mean, if we got Coventry and get beat or draw, and then we struggle against Millwall, it only takes a couple of performances, and all of a sudden you're looking around and go, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? But on flip side of that, you got a Coventry and you get a win. It just further, you know, enhances the reason why they haven't brought anyone in. And I just think they're really smart with it. You know, I just think they've always stated, haven't they, all January and all season really, that they'll only bring someone in if it betters the squad. I don't think we need potential starters. I've always just thought we maybe need a couple of backup options, you know, like a centre half who comes in when Pascal's out or Rodon's out, or a striker, maybe second to Pirro or a 10 second to Aronson. But bringing people in like that doesn't go along with that method of being better than what we've got. It'll improve us in terms of depth and having that quality off a bench, but it's always going to be difficult to improve a side that's top of league. That's how Daniel Farke views it. I do think it's an easy thing to throw in there, because if you miss out, you can give that line where bringing anybody in, you could argue, strengthens this side, because you know I go along with that as well. But it's I think they've done it the right way, and if they miss out, they miss out. But honestly, I don't think they'll be sweating about it at all. And it's just a really, really chilled atmosphere. It's bizarre. It's my first deadline day. It's my first January on YouTube. I've only been doing it 4 months, and the reaction from getting a draw has blown my mind. We don't get too hyped, I don't think, when we win, because it's always supposed to be winning. But when we drop points, it's quite wow. Give me a minute here. Like, you know, it's been mental. So I was expecting hell on earth today, to be fair, if we didn't get anyone. But it's really chilled. I'm actually really surprised. It's still exciting though, even if I haven't got anyone, Joe, because it's still voice notes coming in, WhatsApps and screenshots. It's still quite exciting, even if we don't get anything. It's still quite a thrilling day, to be fair, to be sort of doing it in this space. What you think?
There's still stuff is pinging all over the shop, because regardless of whether or not we actually do a thing, like there's been the nice fun conversations, and I think a lot of deadline day is, it's not the deals that get done, it's the friends that you make along the way, kind of thing.
Yeah,
That's a stupid way of phrasing it, but like you get what I mean, right?
And sometimes it's the deals that don't get done that you remember as well. You know, like look at the Dan James one. Sometimes they're bigger stories than the ones that do get done. So it's entertaining, and this is why they do it. You know, really, you've got a month to do your business, yet this side's scrambling around trying to get extensions on paperwork deadline. It's craziness when you think it's like paying a bill or doing anything in life. Do it, you know, when you've got weeks and we don't leave it till deadline, but people do. And it makes it really entertaining. And let's be fair, football's supposed to be an entertaining business, unless you're from Burnley and you know that ain't right. But Burnley aside, it's supposed to be the entertainment business, and it makes it for a thrilling day. And I don't think we're doing a business now. I don't. But either way, it's better than the years we've had previous where we've not done anything. It still seemed like it's been nice to know we're in for these players, and now it's actually been confirmed. There's a couple of these players we have been looking at, and I don't think it's just hearsay. I think we definitely have put a bid in for Archer, but we just won't be put over a barrel. We don't need to. We're in a strong position, aren't we? So they've been able to push back when they don't fancy the deal now, whereas maybe before they might have forced it. The JKA, they may have forced it because we're a bit desperate. It's nice that we can say we're Leeds United, we're top of league, we want him. These are our terms. If it's not going to fit, fair enough. We're happy. I quite like that.
Yeah,
you live and die on your shield, don't you? You live and die on it, and if they get it wrong, they get it wrong.
Yeah, I'd much rather we do what we're doing at the moment, which is look, we went into it, we set ourselves some rules, and we are going to follow the rules that we made ourselves for the transfers. I would much rather do that than the alternative, which is we set some rules, but then we got scared. Yeah. So I guess we're just going to sort of roll back on that and do whatever we feel we need to in the moment, because I would much rather back a side that are more structured, because we saw what unstructured and responsive transfer stuff looked like in the Radrazani times.
We did.
Where it was like, we're going to sign Cody Gakpo, but then it turns out that his decision depended on the number of goals he scored that night or something.
Yeah, we're ridiculous. Yeah.
Which, if anyone's not seen the story, Cody Gakpo had offers from Leeds and from Southampton, I think it was at the time, and was weighing up which to go for. And he said, okay, if I score 1, I'm going to Southampton. If I score 2, I'm going to Leeds. If I score 3, I'm just going to stay here. What happens in this match is he scores 2 goals, and then there's a third goal that he took the shot, took a nasty deflection, and he was just sort of like, oh, okay, I don't know which way that's going, and then he's subbed off. So he comes off thinking, I've scored 2, I'm going to go to Leeds. And then it gets given as a Gakpo goal rather than an own goal. So I'm glad we're going away from that.
That's nuts.
That's the most Leeds thing to be like, yeah, there's this world-class player that wants to come to Leeds United. Issue is, you need him to not score a hat-trick, otherwise he's just going to stay where he is for now. And it's like...
Honestly, it's nuts is our story, mate. But yeah, it's true. It happened. I've heard that as well. Mental.
I don't think I could be that guy and just be like, yeah, you know what? I've got 2 contracts on the table which will decide my future. But you know what? If I do really well, I'm just not going to move. Sorry? What?
Mental.
Okay.
I mean, you'll have been watching more than me. I would have thought in the Twitter sphere. But does it look like if we don't get Armstrong, which I don't think is happening now, or Archer, does it appear they aren't leaving Southampton at all? They're not going to go to a rival now. Is it Leeds or nothing? Or
the chat I've seen around Armstrong stuff was that interest was coming from Leeds, it was coming from Sunderland, it was coming from Borough, which is sort of ironic considering Sunderland are currently playing against Borough.
Yeah, I thought that.
Which is like, okay, why are you trying to sign someone on the same day that you're playing? You just whatever. What you're doing there is you're putting yourself in the situation where Armstrong can do exactly what Gakpo did and do. Whoever wins, fight for.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I've heard. But the Armstrong conversation's gone very, very quiet. It doesn't look like we are interested though, as far as I can tell. It looks like our interest was like for an hour or so earlier in the day. Then we went, let's not worth it.
Probably got told there were no budget on what they wanted, I assume, and then that was it done. Yeah,
it feels like it. It's a weird one because I feel like Armstrong's in the same situation as Cameron Archer, where he is Very, very close. That's never a pen. Don't give that. Okay, we're good. Sorry, I've got the match on in the background.
Yeah,
We're
no,
also
it is.
doing a quasi watch along. It's great. Where with Archer, yes, he doesn't perform too well in the Premier League and he plays really well in the Championship. The difference is Archer is young enough to develop into that Premier League player,
Fair.
whereas Armstrong is already 28.
Fair.
So I feel like he's not got much up
Yeah.
to do. He's sort of where he's going to be, if that all sort of makes sense.
No, it does.
Yeah.
It'd have been the most Leedsy thing, though, wouldn't it, to sign the player that knocked us out of, well, did that in the playoff final last year. It'd have been such a Leedsy thing to bring him in, but I think at this stage you'd have took either of them just because it's going to be a massive bonus to us for that next 16 games. But like I say, don't think it's detrimental to not get either. So we're in a really good spot. I mean, that Joseph thing took me by surprise. I won't lie. It seemed wild because if he'd have gone, we'd have definitely had to bring 2 in, which just wouldn't have happened. But it'd be interesting to know where Joseph's head's at with that. Spanish, Real Betis, decent club to go to. He ain't getting minutes. He plays every game for Leeds, doesn't he? But he's out of favour. He's had a little bit. You can see when he scored that goal on Saturday how much the club means to him. But obviously the pressure he's felt. He's probably had a couple of months where he hasn't probably enjoyed his football, and I think that might have shown a little bit. And I think that goal and that that emotion, that relief that he got a goal probably. Were very powerful. You could sense it on Saturday, to be fair, where subs reacted. Same with Gnonto. I feel like, they've been out of form and it's probably weighed them down a little bit. So I could imagine if Betis would have come in maybe a week ago, Joe, and offered 10+ million, we might have been saying goodbye to him. I don't know how you feel about that, but...
Yeah, I think I mentioned earlier that looking at the offer that came from Betis, if you're looking at what Matteo has done so far in his Leeds career, and you're looking at his age and all that sort of stuff, you're probably thinking, I think 10 million isn't too bad, but any other window, we at least consider it, and we take a little bit more time to work out what's going on with it. Whereas bid comes in on deadline day with like 4 or 5 hours to go.
Yeah.
Then that puts us in a situation where it's like, well, you're leaving us with 1 striker, which is a bad idea.
Yeah.
You're leaving us without time to sign anyone else, and you're leaving us without time to force the price as high as we can. So I think any other time we go, yeah, maybe. But the situation around this was the one situation in which I'm 100% certain we go, absolutely not. No, that would be stupid of us.
Agree. We'd have left ourselves way too short, wouldn't we? Way too short.
Because in that situation, you've got Peru as a 9, and then Peru gets injured. Odds are Pat's not back.
Yeah.
So it gets a little bit complex. Look, in terms of the way that Joseph would be thinking, and I'm going to put it to you, if you're in his situation, which is playing a little bit for a side that, let's be honest, is probably winning a trophy this season and getting its way into the Premier League.
I agree.
The side that have come in for him currently sat 10th in La Liga. They are admittedly just 3 points off Europe, but that is the Europa Conference League, and there are a lot of strong teams between them and that. Is it a case of, even if you're Matteo, you're saying, well, I'm winning a trophy here, that's something to go on the Wikipedia page. I'm enjoying my time here. I've just scored a goal here, and I could potentially be like long-term developing. And the alternative is to also be a rotation option for Real Betis, who can offer La Liga football, sure, but in 6 months, I could have Premier League football. If you're in that situation, what are you sort of thinking? Are you thinking stick with Leeds, or would your head be a little bit more turned?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, to be fair. I mean, me being from Leeds, obviously I'm going to say Leeds. Him being Spanish, I know he's English Spanish, but it'll be a little bit different. But on that one, it's the pull of Premier League football, and I know footballers have a short career. They want to make as much money as they can, but they also want to be as successful as they can. And it might be, I don't think it will be, but it could be his only shot at Premier League football. You don't know, you don't know what happens. You could go, you can get injured, you can go to Betis, you could lose form, you might end up, Leeds potentially could be the biggest club he ever plays for. We don't know yet. For me, I think that it's nailed on. We're winning the league or we're going up. If you're a player, you're competitive, you back yourself 100%. Every player there knows the role. They know the massive chance of winning this division. Like you say, that's a massive pull for anyone. Just picturing the celebrations in in 3 or 4 months' time, as a team, as a collective, with your best mates, who you've known for years and years, that's got to have some meaning. He's still young enough to go earn his money and play in different divisions if that's what he wants. But yeah, like you say, I don't think he's going to get guaranteed. He wouldn't be guaranteed a start. I wouldn't assume at Betis, just like not at Leeds. I mean, he won't be thinking the same as us, Joe. I mean, I've got a feeling Joseph, and I've got his shirt behind me signed. I really love him, to be fair. I think his ceiling's really high. I am worried that he could end up a bit like Joffrey Geldart, where he isn't going to get as many minutes in Prem because we're going to have to bring in a striker or two potentially. And then is he going to end up not playing but still in squad? I don't know. But he won't feel like that. I think he will back himself because he's a professional footballer. You can see him when he's on the pitch. He's hungry. He's well-driven. He manages his diet well. He's training well. You never hear anything negative about Matteo Joseph. When he goes to Spanish under-21 side, he excels. They've spoke about pushing him into like fast forwarding his development and getting him into Spanish side. That wasn't long ago. That would only start this season. So there's a player there, and he will back himself in the Premier League. I don't think he makes. I think he's probably third choice at best in Premier League. I would suggest. I'm sure most of us would agree. We could bring another one in. Pirro goes down to 2. He's third choice, but that don't mean he won't get no minutes. And you've got to think last season probably came a little bit too soon for him. This season really should have been his first proper crack at it, I think. We all called him to get more minutes last season. I know Joe Wayman's touching it quite a lot and says, it probably proved certain times of the season that Farke got it right. He had some good games. The Chelsea one made everyone think, oh, maybe should be giving him more minutes. But, it's probably not been the case. So if you take those odd sporadic minutes out from last season, this is his first proper crack at men's football. And when you look at it like that, he's had decent opportunity. He's still raw. He's still got to develop, but he's got a lot of attributes to his game. So I look at it from his point of view and think, long way around to go. But I think he'd turn down any move at the minute for me because he's still getting minutes and he's probably going to win a trophy and be a Premier League footballer next season. So regardless of what we think his potential is or if people rate him or not, that's fact. He's got a decent contract and he will be in the Premier League with Leeds United next season. He will believe that. So I think it's turned down any move, if I'm honest, Joe, right now.
Yeah, I think I agree. We do have another further fairly chunky bit of news that I'm going to have to switch over to in a moment. I just need to very, very quickly change a thing. Sorry, I'm trying to update titles and thumbnails as I go throughout this stream, which is...
That blows my mind, mate, as you can imagine. How do you do that?
It's a challenge that I set myself to be like, what I'm going to do? If I'm going to do a deadline day stream, I want to keep all my titles and everything up to date.
Class.
Don't do that. Don't. It's not.
Mate, I ain't
so
going to touch that.
Trickier.
You know me, mate. I'm not going to touch that. I'll just message you and say, Joe, will you sort me this out?
Joe, can you just quickly have a look
at
this,
please? Yeah. How do you do this? Thank you, mate.
That's solid. That'll do. Cool. So this little bit of news is from David Anderson of the Mirror. Southampton won't loan Cameron Archer to Leeds despite the Yorkshire club's strong interest. Looks like there will be no new striker for Leeds United.
Lovely.
Thoughts? I'm going to ignore the tweet below it. We'll ignore that one because yeah. to be honest, Chris, we also hate us, so I get it. Like, I understand.
We are lately
also. Quick little shout out to Snaggy Eagle for tagging me in this. That was much appreciated. So what are we thinking? Is this what we expected, or is it anything that was sort of out of the blue? Especially with like the confidence with which he said we're just not going to get anyone.
Yeah, I think before 11 o'clock, mate, there had to be some sort of tweet come out and say he's not coming because, like I say, I don't envisage it were going to happen anyway. I did on Friday. Friday seemed very likely after, watching a lot of streams and then weekend comes and it goes quiet and it's just felt very quiet since it broke on Friday that we were interested. So at some point in the next couple of hours, that tweet had to come out. So I've been expecting at some point you to tell me something along them lines. I don't know how credible he is. I assume he's very credible for you to speak about him. I'm just trying to get used to who's credible and not on Twitter. It's a new scene for me as ex. But yeah, it was to be expected, mate. And he's probably kicking himself as Archer because he probably wanted that move, if I'm honest. I think for Archer, it's a hell of a move, is that? Hell of a move. You're getting beat every week. He's getting minutes at Southampton, don't get me wrong, but getting beat every week, going to come to Leeds, win every week, get promoted, probably have an obligation if we'd have got him potentially, and Premier League football with Leeds United. So I think the player will be gutted. But yeah, I never understood Southampton letting him go on a potential perm anyway, because I think next season, your Armstrong and your Archer are ready made for this division to bounce them straight back up. I mean, I don't know why you'd risk losing them next season. And I don't see what gain you get by letting them play football for the rest of this season in Championship to then have I didn't really understand it from Southampton's point of view, but from the players' point of view, I think they'll be disappointed, mate. I do. As a Leeds fan, I'm a little bit disappointed because it's a shiny new toy we don't have. But we've got a lot of bloody good toys that we're really good at playing with.
Yeah, I mean, we've got some pretty damn good toys that they're automated. I think they play with themselves. You don't even need to do it. We just watch them have a bit of fun, and it's like,
Exactly.
oh, great! Love that you're having a good time, Willie Gnonto.
You had to say that name as well, didn't you? You had to see who's that player.
Yes, right, okay. Then again, Largy wouldn't be much better.
It wouldn't, mate. It wouldn't.
Manor Solomon, you could probably get away with.
Probably.
Dan James, there we go. There's nothing going on with there.
Like a Jerry Bunny.
It's yeah.
Sorry, mate.
Thank you for the super chat, Dominic. A small transfer day contribution for your streaming, watch along. Been enjoying it from the start. Keep up the good work. I've also been a fan of Matty since he first burst through. Bursting through is again phrasing, but that's what we're doing today. We're just phrasing things weird and wrong, and it's a good time. Just said on Sky, Leeds will not be new players coming in. Yeah, I'm in the spot where I've sort of accepted it, but I've also told myself that I'm going to be doing a stream until the deadline. So I'm not going to back out of that. We're going to keep on going. It's going to be great. Spurgeon is staying put. The general gist behind Edouard Spurgeon was we were linked with him, as were many, 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 many clubs. So he was linked to PSG, to Lens, to Ajax, who said the only reason they didn't sign him was they couldn't find a legal route to get the money to Russia. Juventus and Napoli, I believe, were all linked with him, at least to some extent. He ended up basically saying that he wanted to finish up the season at his current club, which is a completely fair enough thing to say. Like, I understand it. It's the same thing as we will have said to Somerville. Will you help us to get promoted? If so, cool, you can leave if it doesn't pay off, sort of deal. So it looks like he's going to be moving somewhere in the summer. We don't know where to because it's January and the world of football is nuts and silly. Matt Archer. Never mind, not Matt Archer. Matt Archer doesn't want to play in the Championship. He looks to leave Southampton as he did when Sheffield United were relegated. Yeah, I think he moves in the summer. I don't. It's tough to be in his boots, I imagine.
It don't look good if he moves again, though, does it? It don't look good from a personal level for me. Every time you struggle and you get really, you just move sides. That'll be a third time in 3 years. Don't know if I'm reading too much into that. But
I kind of understand it though. At the same time, from the perspective of it's him backing himself and saying, "No, I can make it at this level." Whereas, I don't know. I'd maybe. I don't know how I feel about it, as you can probably tell by the fact that
do you risk then, say he gets relegated again and then he joins another promoted side? Do you risk just being a player that's constantly in a poor side getting relegated as opposed to coming down? I mean, we've seen him from January onwards at Middlesbrough, 17 GNA, 10 goals, 7 assists, smashing it. Do that for a full season, then go up with that side and maybe create a bit of a home for you. The fans enjoying you being there. You know, you see what it's like. You know, when you do it that way, when you drop down and then go again. I think it's a better way of doing it than just jumping ship every time. For me, I'm just a bit of a man of honour, mate, and I just think go down with them, go again, make them fall in love with you, and then find a home rather than just. But everyone's different. Everyone's different. I understand why he wouldn't want to go down with Southampton. I understand it, but for me, he'd tear it up if he went down with Southampton next season. But we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I was sort of trying to devil's advocate it a little bit, but you've just basically said what I was thinking in my head, and I was
I get what you mean, though. I
can't argue against it because you're right. God damn it, this isn't fair. That's not on. Southampton will want a permanent deal or loan with obligation to buy. Leeds may not want that commitment. I think we're at the point where the amount of interest that we've had in them, and I heard from someone who confirmed today that we went back in for him today with another bid. I think if we're at that level of we want him, he's the number one target, we are quite desperate to get him.
Yeah.
Then I think the wording between option to buy and obligation to buy isn't something that would stop us. I think it's at the point where we would just say, sod it, commit to it.
Yeah.
We'll go for it. It's fine. Rather than sort of stay on the fringes of it. I think we'd be a lot more certain about it.
Yeah, maybe.
Just hope that Pier and Aronson don't get any long-term injuries before the end of the season. It'll come back to haunt Leeds if they fail to get automatics. I don't think we failed to. I was asked this a little bit earlier, and 2 questions. 1, did we go up automatically? 2, any predictions on points tally?
From me, mate, I think we win the league regardless. I mean, even if we lose one of them to injury, I still think we've got enough. I think unless we lose 4 wingers to injury, mate, no one can stop us, if I'm honest. I think we'll win the league. I genuinely think we get 100 points, Joe. I think we get 100 points plus. I just don't see us losing at home again the rest of the season, which isn't wild now. It might have been wild, a few weeks back, but it's not wild no more. I don't really see us losing away. I think we'll drop points. There'll be a few draws in there. But yeah, I think we hit 100 points, mate. I really do. What gets me is when everyone's been looking at these cluster of games and they go, we've got to go we've got to play Sunderland at home, got to go to Bramall Lane, but switch it round. They've got to play us. They've got to play Leeds United, and I know I'm biased. Sometimes I see it through rose-tinted glasses, happy clapper, whatever you want to say. But I'd rather live on the lighter side of life where I want my team to do well. I'm expecting them to do well. I'm gonna put all my eggs in that basket. And if I'm left disappointed, I'll dust myself down. I'll go again next game. But I don't want to worry too much. And I love jeopardy in sport. I want to be nervous. But I don't want to be too down when we lose. I just want to enjoy this ride. Everyone goes on about the destination. We know how hard it's going to be next year. We know how hard it's going to be. And I say that like we're already up, because in my head we are, and it's hard to reword these now. But I just want to enjoy now. And a lot of people haven't enjoyed this season. And I think they'll regret that next season, because a lot of people haven't enjoyed it. It hasn't been boring football. I go to the game and I'm in East Upper, I'm sat down, but I'm getting up, 10 times a game, whatever, my knees are cracking, I'm getting a bit old now, but I'm up and down off my seat. There is some excitement there. So I try and enjoy the journey. And I think when we go up as champions with in and around 100 points, with a really good goal difference, which is going to be probably double as closest rival, if not triple by that point, how anyone could turn around and say it's not been a good year, Joe, it's beyond me.
Yeah, I'm having a good time with it, to be honest with you. And like, you'll get loads and loads of people in chats being like, "Yeah, but we dropped points 2 weeks ago," and it's like it's all right. It's not a problem in the slightest.
There is 2 teams on a football pitch, isn't there, Joe? Sometimes you've just got to accept there's another team who might not be as good individually, but as a collective on any given day, if we're slightly off it and they raise a game, which happens, there is 2 teams on a pitch. You can't win every game. You can't. It's reality.
I'm not worried. I trust the team and the manager. This is roughly where I'm at. Yes, I would have liked 10, but it is what it is now. Yeah, I mean, to force yourselves to buy a player that is probably not of the standard that we need at the minute would just be an error. I think it would be an error that costs a lot of money. If we would have ended up signing an Ashley Barnes, I would have been very much like, why have we done that? That's one of the stupidest signings we could have possibly made. And other people would have been screaming out for it. But that's not the world that we're living in at the minute, which is fine. We've not signed him, so I feel very, very positive. Someone else that often feels very, very positive is one of our favourite creators in the space, one of our favourite ASMR readers in Leeds United YouTube. This is the second time that I've noticed someone having a drink whilst in the waiting room, and I've decided to make them laugh. I'm on a roll here. How are you doing, Evie?
Why would you do that? Why would you do that? You're right, Matty.
Hey, Evie, love you. I'm good, yeah. Thank you. You all right?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
Evie, how are you feeling about the end of days that we're currently experiencing? I mean, we're doomed, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I am a little bit peeved. I do think that we need backup for Aronson. I really, really do, because we needed backup last season for, other players, and we didn't get it. So I would just prefer to spend a little bit to just get us over the line. What's the harm in spending a loan fee or a couple of million on a player when you're talking a couple of 100 million, the difference between being in the Championship and being up in the Premier League? So, yeah. But I don't know. I got myself all hyped up. I was a bit like you, Matty, that on Friday I was kind of like pumped thinking. And again, Archer's stats aren't even that amazing, but I think it's just the competition, it's the potential, it's the a new body to encourage people and to, you're not really telling me that I'm not saying that performance would never have happened on Saturday, but for me, that was a performance of people saying, like, I'm still here. But what happens when the window closes and they don't have any competition until the summertime kind of thing? And, I'm just massive when it comes to competition. I think that's how you get the best out of players. I think Fark has got good man management, but I would love to have competition in all the places. Look at how good the wingers are this season because of the fact that they're not guaranteed to start. So yeah, I would much prefer if we'd have gone and got somebody. I really would. I am disappointed, and if we don't go up, it will turn toxic. I still think that we have enough to get up. I do, but it will turn toxic in my opinion.
You're dependent in it, Eva. It comes down to that. All comes down. I know form and legs going and stuff to the end of the season is massive as well. But if we stay injury free, which you can't guarantee, we probably are fine. If we get one or two, as you say, or if the form goes out the window, if Aaronson's legs stop working, which can happen when he runs around as much as he does, then that's the worry.
For me, we have to have as many points on the board as humanly possible before the March international.
Yeah,
because that, I think, Aaronson's form dips every time he goes away and comes back, and he takes a couple of games to get back into it. And we saw in the Premier League season, his form just completely dipped after the World Cup, and we can't afford to carry him when there is no competition for his place on the pitch, because it's, Pirro isn't that kind of a 10. I know he can play 10, but he isn't that kind of a 10. So we would lose a lot if we lost Aaronson's legs in the middle.
Is it fair to say of Aaronson as well? His last few international breaks, he hasn't been playing massive minutes for America because he hasn't been in form, whereas now you'd probably say he's playing pretty well, so he might even play more minutes than usual. Is that fair to say when he goes away?
I hope he gets an injury.
Yeah, me too. Leeds to do that, don't we? This one, just they've all got a groin strain. We'll just keep them back.
Yeah.
He's borderline injury proof for a very, very long time, and if it just happens suspiciously at a certain point in March, I don't think anyone's going to complain. Realistically, are they?
Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea do it, so why can't we?
Yeah, I mean, it's completely natural. I mean, I imagine that, like, it's really, really hard to board planes over to North America, specifically during that one day. Like, it might be a really, really slippy staircase. So I just, if he happens to slip and, like, tweak something, what a shame. Just a very quick interruption for a moment, because I don't know if it's LSY, but LSY Gaming 12 LUFC has popped together a quick edit of Rafinha being good at football, and specifically asked if we had any music that we wanted picking for it. And obviously we picked Bimbus Nimbus, which is borderline this channel's anthem. So I just thought it'd be nice to give it a quick watch through, and then I'm not going to say review it because I'm assuming it's just very good anyway. But then, yeah, just give it a quick watch. Have I remembered to share audio? I hope so, because if not, I'm going to feel stupid. Let me know if this is audible.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is a tune, like, undeniably.
What a man. This did actually happen. This actually happened. Wow.
I miss him so much.
Oh, God.
What a guy. What a
No,
guy.
it's a very, very good edit. It's a very,
Okay.
very good edit, but it's one that's hurt me on, like, a spiritual level.
He's trying to cheer everybody up, and it's an opposite effect.
It's done a little bit of emotional damage.
Yeah.
Danny, if that is a plane that is set to be coming to Leeds, I don't know if we want to hear that right now. I severely doubt that it is. It feels like it's not going to be the case.
No.
But it's not what we want to be having. Evie, I've asked this question of everyone else that has been on thus far. Points prediction for the season, and yes or no one going up.
Yes, on going up, even though that makes me feel physically sick, actually kind of saying something. It's like I hate doing score predictions, but points wise, did we get 93 with Bielsa?
I think we got 93 both with Bielsa in his first season Bielsa in his second season and Farker in his first.
No, we got 90. Got 90.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
87 was Bielsa's first, I think. But 93 was the Bielsa promotion, I think.
Yeah. I reckon 95.
We should better 93.
95.
We should slightly better that, yeah.
That's me being like us having a couple of wobbles. I tell you one result I really just want to get on a personal level is QPR away.
Yeah.
I want us to do what we did to Cardiff away at QPR, just for a bit of kind of personal healing of Leeds United fans, you know, because the fact that that game brought me to tears on YouTube is something that I won't forget in a hurry. So I would love to, on a personal level, absolutely batter QPR because they just needed a point. That's all they needed. They didn't need all three. You know, we needed the points. So, you know, a point would have done. I'd have been okay with a point, but yeah. That's one result. And you know, do you know another really bad thing that me and my husband have just figured out? So we better have nothing to play for on the last day of the season because I'm flying. I'm flying to Egypt. The plane sets off at 3:05, and we're in the air for like 3 and a bit hours. So I won't see any of the game and won't be able to get any updates or anything. So we better not have anything to play for on that last day of the season because this is
Imagine landing Evie and refreshing and that moment of just nah.
Oh, I'd scream and I'd probably get arrested and I'd be in some like little room in an Egyptian airport, you know, saying, you know, what have you smuggled in? Nothing, I'm just a Leeds fan.
I'm just severely nervous. It's okay. It's long-term trauma. It's normal.
Yeah.
This is where the Danny comment from earlier comes in handy, isn't it? Oh no, by a coincidence, Evie's plane broke down on the runway and she has to stay in the terminal for another 2 hours. What?
Oh God.
How does
I don't
that
know.
happen?
I don't know what's worse. I don't know whether that would make me even more anxious because, as well, if we have to set off and we had something to play for, like say, we've shit the bed again, and it's going down to the last day of the season as to whether we go up or not. Honestly, like I think I'd rather not see it than have to fly and watch the game and then fly.
Yeah,
but.
Especially if you lose. If you lose and then you would just sort of like you're on a flight for several hours being like, I can't believe it. At that point, I feel like that plane will be the worst place to be on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy to just sort of predict that. There's also this one. Imagine we score and you shout boom on the plane.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah,
it would be my fault, but purely because I would potentially find it quite funny. And yeah, at the same time, we in that instance wouldn't go up, and I would be absolutely miserable, and it would cause
we would
problems.
be in the playoffs, and then we wouldn't.
Wouldn't go up. Yeah.
In a couple of weeks, we extend our torture, and gain that little bit of hope again and stuff. I take it if we go to if it goes to Wembley, you're not going this time round.
I would.
This is where I'm rather split.
You can't risk not going just in case, though, can you?
Mm-hmm.
Because then you've
that would be incredible.
Just you can't let fear hold you back in life, Joe. You can't.
Even if we don't go up, I'd just love to see us score a fecking goal at Wembley. just a goal.
Surely this time, surely.
You see, this is where I would almost certainly tell myself for a really long time, I'm not going. I'm not going because I went last time, and last time was sad, and last time made me deeply upset. And I had to. No one has seen the uncut version of that Wembley matchday vlog. Because someone sent me a message on a stream saying, the thing is, Joe, I've never seen you screaming fuck off at a football pitch on a vlog. And I was like, yep, that's because I edited that out. That footage never saw the internet and was deleted from my phone very quickly. But at the same time, there'd be so much temptation.
Yeah, you've got to. I remember when I went. I remember when I went at Wembley, and I was the last Leeds fan sat in the stand. I watched all Southampton. I was there for about an hour afterwards. Like, I don't know, just bathing in their glory. I don't know why I did it to myself, but I took it all in, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I sat there and I watched them do everything. There were even Southampton fans leave before me. And I came out of the stadium, met the missus who didn't have a ticket. She'd been in a Costa watching it on a stream on a phone, which was quite funny. A Starbucks, should I say? And then we walking for ages and went and found a Nando's, empty, nobody else in it, buzzing. Right, let's have a Nando's. Sat in there having a Nando's, and then about 40 Southampton fans came in and took every other table. I was the only Leeds fan, and we were on the middle table, this Nando's, Southampton fans all around us, and then that ended up being worse than the match itself. It was a very, very crap Nando's. That was not a cheeky Nando's. That was a crappy Nando's.
A crappy Nando's.
Very crappy.
Nobody wants a crappy Nando's.
No, they don't.
Was that the Nando's in like the shopping centre-y bit? That's
I think it was near an
Wembley?
Asda. It was near an Asda. We seemed to be walking quite a while, but it was actually like next to an Asda randomly.
I'll be honest, I don't know the Asdas of Wembley.
Oh, it might be a Tesco. It was a supermarket anyway, next to a supermarket, which were quite random.
It's
We'll
a
have a
great
nice
place
night
for
in the
Nando's.
supermarket, and we'll have a Nando's at way home. It was just really weird, but yeah. Crap day and night.
Fun, good news. It's 2-1 to Sunderland, which is nice. Very good to see. I love that happening when we're having a conversation about what happens if the other teams do quite well. Good, yeah, fantastic.
Am I still the only one not scared about Sunderland? Am I deluded? I'm looking down at the table. I'm thinking, why are people still so fixated on Sunderland? I must be the only one because everybody else is praying Sunderland lose tonight, and I'm just not there. I don't know.
I think it just eases the pressure. I don't think
course.
it's necessarily that I'm worried about actual Sunderland catching up. It just, the less people that are involved, there was 4 teams involved last year. If we can get that down to 3 before, a couple of weeks time, and then if it's just between us and Sheffield, I don't care. Like, I don't care about winning it. I would love to do it, and I absolutely would, because I think we've got the best team in the division. And I think we've got the most harmonious team. I think we've got a very complementary team, and we've got goals from everywhere. We're not reliant on one person. We are reliant more on Pirro than we were probably a couple of months back, when you actually look at his contributions and his pre-assists. Like, he was the one that laid off that ball for Dan James to get the first goal in the Cardiff game. But I do think that if we can just try and get rid of as many teams that are in that possible conversations, then the good thing is obviously we've played Burnley and we didn't lose. We've still got Sheffield, and I still think we can get something. I'm not saying we get all 3, but I still think they're very gettable. And Sunderland were lucky. We should have won that game again. If we'd had a goalkeeper in the net, then we would have won that game. But I don't think we've got anybody to be fearful. I just want us to make it as easy as humanly possible, because Leeds will lead this up at some point. So if at least we can have a gap and less teams to feck it up with, that would be my best kind of bet.
Our sort of blips have only been a couple of draws back to back, really, haven't they? We haven't had a really disastrous so far seen. So everyone sort of says there's one to come, but I'm not too sure. I'll have to see. But I mean, when it comes to the 4 of us, I think you'd all agree we've got the balance right between attack and defence out of all of the 4 of us. I mean, Sunderland are really good going forward. They get their money's worth at Sunderland, don't they? To be fair, really exciting games, but they concede so many. We've seen Burnley great at the back, but the sacrifice attack. Sheffield United a little bit like Burnley, but probably just better going forward. Not as good defensively, but definitely nowhere near Leeds' standard. I mean, we've got it nailed on. I mean, conceded 19 goals. 3 of them games we conceded 3 in. Swansea, Hull, Portsmouth. That takes it down to, it takes it down to Burnley numbers, doesn't it? So our defense has been formidable this season. So good. It's just doesn't seem as good because Burnley are doing ridiculous stuff. But I think we've got the balance absolutely spot on of how you should play football. We might not be absolutely scintillating going forward, but we're not far off some weeks, don't get me wrong, but we've got a great balance. We know we're not out of control games. We really are, well structured and well drilled defensively, well coached, but we do allow us players to go for it in spells in games, and these spells, it were 90 minutes in the last game, hence the scoreline. It were probably closest thing to a full 90 minutes we've seen, but these spells normally are 15-20 minute pockets in games are normally enough to get the goals, and then as a group we hold on. So I do think you're right, we are the best side in the league, and I think you can definitely say that now, not just because of where we are in the league, but we've played enough games now, and you can just see the balance of the side is the best balanced side, I think, in the division.
But you even add on those precious points that Mr. Hamface likes to add on, because he was adamant that they had 60 points, not the last game, but the game before. And I was like, no, you don't. You've got 58 points. You don't have 60 points, because whether you have played and actually earned those points is irrelevant. You had a 2-point deduction before. You kicked a ball this season. And if you'd have beaten us, you'd have earned those 2 points back. Even if you'd have got a draw, you'd have earned those points back. And if you'd have got a draw with Burnley and with us, you'd have earned those 2 points back. So, we are 30 games into a season. Stop whining over 2 points. It's just not good enough. You were a Premier League team last season. Don't piss about arguing over a 2-point deduction. Everton had a 10-point deduction in the Premier League and still stayed up over you. So 2 points is nothing. You earned those 2 points back in your first game because you won. So get over it. So it really annoys me that so many people still qualify. It's a 2-point deduction. It's nothing. It was, like a slap and a tickle more than a punishment. It was nothing. So just get over it, but even if you add those 2 points back on, we're still top of the table because of goal difference. So we are rightfully the top of the table. And even if we do go back and forth with, we drop some points and they're on the same points, and then you add those points back, they'd be ahead of us. No, they wouldn't, because they had those -2 points. Get over it. 30 games in.
And it's a pretty important note as well on those -2 points. It's not just something that was randomly doled out to someone out of a hat. It was done because they financially cheated in the past.
Exactly.
They broke the rules to get a better squad, and the rules effectively deemed, okay, that squad's worth probably about 2 points. Let's make it a bit fair. And that seems to have worked out, because they are a decent side. They are not the best side in the league, and look at where they are. They are a decent side, not at the top of the league.
Exactly.
And what's quite interesting to me is the team that were done in the past for financial cheating. You look at the transfer window they've had, and everyone is saying, that's such incredible business. Well done, Sheffield United. You've signed Tom Cannon, Brereton Diaz, whoever else they've managed to get in the last however long. If you're looking at a side that has previously been ridiculously sort of... Hold on, Ayling's put in a very nice ball, and I've just seen it became 2-2. Wonderful.
Get in, Ayling.
But if you are if you financially cheated in the past, and now you're being ridiculously irresponsible with the signings you're making in a January, that's not a model that we want to be copying. We don't want to be aping that. We want to be doing our own thing and doing it well. And I think that's what we're sort of doing at the minute. And I just want to quickly address one comment. You guys have talked to me a fair bit about football, right? And roughly know my opinions. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Do I still think Mallier is good in goal, or have I spent an extended period of time saying we should probably be starting Darlow, but I can't change that, so sod it, we'll just get behind it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've not, since the Hull game especially, you even said, I can't do any more now, kind of thing.
Yeah, I started a stream with the funeral march, and I was like, that's it. That's the death of my time.
That was one of my favourite ones I think you've ever done.
The can thing, by the way, I will send you a link to that at some point. It does have a basis in something.
Does it?
Okay. So
It's not
confused.
just someone sending you a very, very weird message in the comments. Also, surely not having wrists would be a positive, because if you didn't have wrists, then they wouldn't be able to bend. Either way, we'll move on past that. That's not my opinions. That's what you've made up as a version of my opinions. It's fine. But yeah, I need to update the banner on the bottom. I got games and Tom's nearly fell asleep just because one game Shackles came off, scored 7. When was the last time we tried for the whole 80 minutes? He's not good enough for the Premier League. We'll have this conversation because it seems like a lot of people continually want to have that conversation. Premier League, what are you doing if you're the 49ers in terms of managerial positioning and stuff along those lines? What's both of your feelings? We'll start with Matty.
I'd be annoyed if you want to sack someone. You've got to base it on merit. If he gets you promoted, you've got to allow him to start the job. And I know people will say it's a business, it's their money. If they don't think it's right, they'll pull the plug. And yeah, they might do. But I'll lose faith in who I'm supporting in terms of the owners if they were to do that. It's not how I live my life, and I wouldn't want that. But I understand football's different. It's not how this fat lad from Leeds lives his life. It's not it's not my views. It's not. But I just think you deserve a crack at it. You know, he's never. I hate it when people say he's never done no in Prem. It's just such a small window of time in it, and such a poor side who he didn't get back with to use it as a stick to beat him with. I want him to. I don't think he's going to take us where ultimately we want to be. You know, we've seen it. If you get things right on the pitch, it can happen pretty quick. You know, snowball effect. Look at Aston Villa. Look what Brentford have done, and Brighton. But it's going to take some really smart decisions over some consecutive seasons there to stay up, stabilize, and build on that. Do I think Farker can take us to the very top? No, but do I think he's it potentially is a Premier League manager, but just low end for me. He's probably always going to get that promotion job. He'll probably get us up, get sacked at some point, and eventually everyone will be right who's wanted him out. I hope he does a full season for me and he can leave on good terms, and then we kick on after that. But could I see him a month or two into the season lose his job? Yes, I could. But then he probably gets the next big job in Championship that comes available, because that's probably his level. Yeah, but I do feel like you've got to give him a crack at it. And then after that, we have to, our goals are aiming higher in that Premier League than just consolidating, but it's going to be very difficult. But for me, he gets us up, we stay up, and then after that, we have a look at it. That's my opinion. I don't think he's a top 10 manager. I don't think he's maybe even a mid-table manager. I think he's going to be promotion, relegation, battling manager, but he could keep this side up. I think the way we play football is set up for Premier League football. We just need more numbers and more quality within that side. I think the way he plays is definitely the style for Premier League. It's just you need more quality in there for me and more depth. But we'll see.
Yeah. Evie, thoughts?
Yeah, I think. See, I would love for, obviously, I want us to get promoted. I want us to get top 2. But I also think that if we miraculously go up, but we go up via the playoffs,
I agree.
I would be tempted to get rid. Yeah. And I know that sounds really harsh, but this team, with the way that we're playing, the way that we're set up, the players that we have available, and the quality that we have at this level, it is some of the best, like anybody in our team. I think the only player that doesn't walk into every team is Meslier. I think everybody who makes a start at some point or another gets into any other team straight away. Look at Jadon Anthony, for instance. He was sat on our bench for most of last season and is a starter for Burnley week in, week out. So we have a very high expectation. And if we don't get up via automatic spots, but we do get up via the playoffs, there's a tough conversation to have, in my opinion. But if we were to do that, you'd have to do it very quickly, because obviously when you go into the playoffs, you're 2 weeks behind in the transfer window, where everybody else can start making, talks with people and things, whereas we wouldn't be able to do that because we wouldn't be guaranteed Premier League football. But I do think that if he gets us up automatically, and especially if we get up as champions again. He'd be the only manager to have 3 top place championship winning, because it's him and what's he called?
Mick McCarthy, is it?
Mick McCarthy, yeah. He's joint top with him on 2 at the moment. So if he gets this one with Leeds, he would be basically essentially the best ever championship manager. So I think that he deserves the chance to be backed. And I agree with Matty in the fact of, yes, he might not be the very best, but when you think about the very best, the actual very best managers, there aren't many of them, because there's a conversation to have that you take away the millions, nigh on billions, that Man City have spent on players. Could Pep have done? And Pep admitted himself that Pep couldn't have done what Bielsa did with Leeds United. Bielsa could have done what he did at Man City with the players and the money that he had available, but he couldn't have done what Bielsa did with Leeds United. Henceforth, admitting that Bielsa's is a better tactical manager than he is. So just because some managers fall into luck, some managers know the best people to be involved in, type of people. Look at the English managers that get jobs because they were players, when actually they've done nothing to prove that they are worth their salt as a manager, and yet they keep on getting jobs after jobs after jobs. And then they get a little bit of luck and everybody thinks that they're incredible. Lampard. But I think he deserves to be backed. I really, really do. I think that if he gets us up in the top 2 spaces, I think he deserves to be backed. We don't have that emotional connection to him that we did with Bielsa, so I wouldn't give him as long as I would have given Bielsa in the same situation. But I agree. I think the reason that this is, we can be boring, is because Farke's here to get a job done, and he has most of the tools available to him to get us up. But I actually think that we will be a better team in the Premier League if we continue with this style of football. It will be more enjoyable to watch, because we're not going to get 20 teams that just come and sit behind the ball. We're just not going to have that. We'll be that team that sit behind the ball sometimes when we're playing, Liverpool and decent teams. Not Man City or Man U. I reckon that we'd have them. I reckon that we could have them at the minute, if I'm honest.
I don't reckon we'll need to play Man United next season. I think that we're swapping leagues, aren't we?
I tell you what, I would sell a kidney if it meant that we could do that we went up and we could wave at, I'd forgive Leicester, I'd forgive Everton, I'd forgive everybody if it just meant that we could wave, because I bet you none of those players have the wage reductions written into their contracts. They would be like Leeds in 03-04 and then all the way down to 09, but 10 times worse. It would be, you could actually see the end of a football club if Man U got relegated, because of how poorly they are run as a club. And what's his face is making the Glazers look like human beings. What's he called? Jim Ratcliffe.
Yeah.
I don't know why Atwell came to mind for a moment on my end, but it's not Atwell, it's Ratcliffe. Yeah, it'd be a dream. It'd be absolutely fantastic. I do have one question that's come out of the comments as well. If the squad is so much better than the rest of the championship, how come we're only just ahead of our closest rivals? This was a question that I saw, and I thought, I don't know how to put it into words, because we are very, very clearly vastly better than the bulk of the championship, right? Like, any game we play, we are dominating the ball, we are dominating chances, everything. We've lost 3 times. It's obviously we're quite good. But why is it that we're not that much clearer? Aside from the obvious that we're all thinking, but
that is it. I really hate to be that person, but he is the reason why we're not that many points clear. That's not on Farker. That's not on anybody else. And I have a go a lot at players for their conversion, but we've scored the most goals. We are over double goal difference when it comes to our nearest rival. Our number one is the reason, why we're not. And, even if you only take the absolute games that you can unequivocally not argue, Sunderland, Hull, Blackburn, if you take those games alone and ignore every other mistake that he's made throughout, the fact that he is just, I think he's saved one penalty in his entire career, and that goal ended up going in anyway on the rebound. So, he could have saved that one at Norwich very, very easily. He didn't even move. It was bang in the middle. Like he could have just stood still. A cardboard cutout could have been put in his place and would have saved that goal. That's, so yeah, he's at least cost us what, 9-10 points this season.
We've got various theories and figures going in from the chat.
It's probably at least 6, and it's 6 definite, and then you can argue about other saves he could have made and shots that are squeezed under him, but 6 definitely. But like you say, you add them up, and then you what, 10, 11 clear a third, and you're in cruise control. Like, I mean, you've also got to throw.
We'll be at 69, so it'd be 11 points clear of Burnley at this point.
And you are talking about some errors there that it's basically like kicking at your own goal standard, And you look at that, and you throw in there your centre midfield partnership both out in the same week for long term. One of them's your club captain. It's you caveat that we're saying the people that came in meant we didn't miss them players, but still to lose the heart of your club for near on 3 months, to lose Gruev, who's his second in command, they were brilliant together, and you're probably seeing now how much Farker values them, and it might pay a lot of people off for the rest of the season, but you're probably going to see him play big minutes from now to end of year. Pair of them, whichever combination that is, they're still going to be involved. Ampadu was a main starter now, but you look at that, the goals, the points cost by Melier, then that I'll never forget that week. One against Burnley, when Ampadu against Burnley, then I think it were away at Norwich. We lose Gruev all in a week, all within 4 days, I think it was, and it felt like curtains at that point. I remember doing a pre-record just with me head in my hands and saying, what we're going to do here, because we didn't know how good Tanaka was, we didn't know how good Rothwell was, but still to lose them 2 players, to have you keep them at the errors he's made, to not bring anyone in January, and we're still going to go up.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I see it, because the level of everybody else is so good, because Farker, maybe, I always think sometimes you've got to go through some adversity, lick your wounds, and then the second time you get it right, you can look at what you did wrong last year. Some will say, well, we're not changing it up with January, but I feel like when he looks those lads in eyes in dressing room, he knows what he's got this season. He knows what he's got, and the lads that were here last year, which is a lot of them, they're hungry to right those wrongs, and the standard isn't as good as it was last year for me. It isn't. But our standard's gone up, and we haven't got a big gap, no. So I get it's a fair question, but I do sort of think with those variables there we've sort of touched on, that's enough reasons really as to why we're not clear. It's got to be.
Well, if you look at how many points Cooper and Trafford have earned Burnley this season, so whereas Melier hasn't, the only game that I can think of where he actively helped us earn points was the Middlesbrough game. And you shouldn't be able to think of one game out of 30 games this season that he has saved us points. Whereas I can think of several games that Trafford and Cooper have saved Sheffield and Burnley. So you swap, give us one of their goalkeepers. There is a sizable gap between, and that's how important that is. So.
I think on the Trafford thing, like I'm looking at Burnley at the minute, and I think I said in one of my pre-match things, I genuinely don't see Burnley as one of the sides that are going to challenge for like automatic promotion at the end of the season. Like I'm sort of the opposite to Matty in this regard. I'm looking at Sunderland more than Burnley because Burnley are so reliant on Trafford. Mm-hmm. The only reason they have only conceded 9 goals is because of James Trafford. Like, in terms of expected goals against, we are better than they are. It's just we've made stupid errors, and they've got James Trafford.
Yeah.
And I think the moment he has anything like a drop in form, is that them in deep trouble, or is that them able to like reasonably adapt to it? We do have a question from Jack Richards, who's also done a super chat. Thank you very much, Jack. I appreciate that. Would love to hear what you think. Let's say we have a consistent keeper. What stops us being comfortable mid or low Prem table? Does Farke limit us? I don't think Farke's the limiting factor there. I think because as much as we're saying that we think each manager has a sort of ceiling on them. Remember when we were looking at a manager to replace Jesse Marsh and we were just running through various people and the fan base lost their mind at like 3 different recommended options. And you had someone say, Arne Slot, and let's not get Slot because he wasn't very good at Ajax. He's at Liverpool at the top of the Premier League. You had Nuno, who everyone was like, nope, he had a really bad time at Spurs. Nuno is currently at Forest, who are third.
But he didn't have a bad time at Spurs. Daniel Levy just got trigger happy. He won Manager of the Month back to back, and then got sacked. Make of that what you will kind of thing. He doesn't play the most attractive football. It's very defensive. I remember him being at Wolves, and but he's super hard to break down, and unfortunately when you're in the Premier League, that is often what you need to be until you earn the money. I do think that we're in a superior position to a lot of clubs, your Palaces, Brentford, other clubs that have to work recruitment really, really well because we've got a bigger, more cash happy spending kind of fan base, and we've got bigger investors that have a lot of showbiz people that will bring a lot of media hype to us if we get promoted. So I do think genuinely that we are in a far better position than a lot of teams that are currently in the Premier League. I think if we can survive our first season, we have a very good chance of being a Premier League regular, where we should be.
Yeah, I mean, it'll take a lot of money. Like, there's at least 4 or 5 positions that I think we'd need a straight upgrade for, at the very least, rather than just reinforcements. Like, beyond goalkeeper, which is a definite, let's be honest, need a number 9. Obviously, we need number 9 arguably now, but even more so in the summer. Matty, what else would you personally look at in terms of the areas that we're quite desperate to build on and fix in order to stay up if we go up?
I think key starting positions, no keeper, no left back, no 10, no striker. Definitely, therefore, I think we need new starters for. I think the centre midfield pairing, I'd be happy with Tanaka and Ampadu. I think the wingers, any 2 of the 4, I'm happy with starting. If we keep Solomon, if we lose Solomon, you've got to get one of them. Then I think you need 3 or 4 really strong, underneath that bench options who aren't bench players, but will have to earn the right, a little bit like we've got at this level. Because when we go up, the level of play we've got now, we're great at this level. It's going to lessen a little bit. It's going to dilute a little bit going up. I think it's key that we've got a lot of question marks against the players that we're taking up. Can they do it in the Premier League? Can Ramazani be as good as we think? Can Pirro do it in the Premier League? I don't think he'll be a starter. I think he'll be a second choice. Can Ampadu make that step up at Leeds United and be our captain and earn his right to play in the Premier League? All these questions. What I don't want to do is bring players in and have question marks against them too. I'd like us to get some Prem ready players. So I'd be dead happy. And I know he's had injuries. You might have to take a risk on some players. Sometimes you've got to. Ben Davies is a free option. I think if you can get some reassurances that, from a medical that his big injuries are behind him, I think as a free agent, left back, if Firpo's going, I think Ben Davies would be a great, he's 31 year old, can play centre half. He's someone I'd really like to go get that Welsh connection. There's enough of his friends there already. That sometimes helps. You get him starting with Dan James and Roden and Ampadu. You've got a really decent core there of players that know each other's game inside out. But what I'm sort of saying is the positions we get, I want them to be Prem ready. And I feel like years gone by, we used to always tap into Italian market or these markets and buy players we've never heard of. And I know we still do that from time to time. But I do feel like now, since 49ers have really took over, they get players who we sort of know. They get players who they know can work. And I don't feel like they've signed a bad player since they've been in. Jed Spence, but he weren't a bad player when we signed him. He was a cracking sign. I was really excited for that. But they've got most of them right. So this is why I do think you give Farke a bit of a war chest. It's not like giving Jesse Marsh money, where if it goes pear shaped, his style's so out there that the next manager coming in, what does he do with these players? For me, he plays a 4-2-3-1. If he brings in 5 or 6 players who do really well for Farke, or really poorly for Farke, sorry, it doesn't mean they can't play well for another manager. He plays a 4-2-3-1. He plays like most teams will play in the Premier League. Under Jesse Marsh, if it went wrong, I understand it. You were buying players who, like Aronson, for argument's sake, he isn't great with the ball. He's getting better, but you can see how in certain systems he might not work. So I think you give him the money, and I do believe between Farke and the 49ers, they'll get it right. But I do think we need 7 or 8. And I think there's definitely a hole in the side, maybe 4 holes that need plugging. And then underneath that, you've got to find someone bench. And I know I've had on my streams people say, yeah, but who do you take out? Who do you drop from bench? Well, I don't know, to be fair. It's up to players to earn the right to get on bench to start with and get onto the team. But we need a thicker squad of more quality. It's great at this level. It's one of the best sides I've seen at this level. I would say ever. The bench is unreal. That 11's fantastic. But as we go up, that definitely dilutes.
Yeah, there was a stat I saw a couple of weeks ago that was along the lines of all of the teams in Championship history since these numbers were recorded, we have taken something like the 4th most shots per 90 of any team to ever be in the Championship. And we've conceded the least shots per 90 of any team to ever be in the Championship. I think it's since 2012 when they started recording that data. So that's the sort of numbers that say that's a really, really good side. Like, better than the likes of a Wolves when they went up because they had like Europe standard players.
Yeah.
So that makes me wonder a little bit, is the standard of play we have now maybe good enough in a lot of places? How much actual upgrading needs doing and how much of it is just thickening up what's already there is, I think.
The thing is, this season we've got to be better than 20 sides, 21 sides. Next season, we're better than 3. And finishing 17th, you probably all take it now, but it means you're going to be quite sad most weeks next season. You're going to go to work on a Monday morning and think, damn, we lost again. And that'll mean finishing 16th, 17th means you'll lose some games against the people around you. It'll be an hard slog. So that's why I think it probably would lose his job next season, because they won't want to flirt with relegation. But he's definitely got it.
But the gap is so big.
Yeah.
Like I don't mean to go all political or anything, but the Premier League is just no, Joe, behave, sit down.
I need to go for a wee anyway, so you can talk politics whilst I'm not here.
Okay. The Premier League is like a small chasm of what a capitalist society is. The people at the top earning all of the money and being able to monopolize the market, whereas we're just like happy for the little scraps that we get at the bottom type of thing. And you look at Southampton, Ipswich, Leicester. Was it really worth it, to go up and to just be miserable? Like, they're on Southampton, are they on 9 points now? They've had 2 wins against Ipswich and Everton this season. Like, they've gone through a manager that was so egotistical that he would not bend the knee to just scrape some points. He basically saw what Company did with Burnley the previous season and thought, well, if I just play my style of football, regardless of what the team does, I will get my move to a better club. And it's like, well, no, you don't have the same pedigree that Company had. Like, Company played for Man City and won trophies. You played for Norwich. Like, I'm sorry, but there's a little bit of a difference and things. And there's so much ego involved in managers and in players. But in players, at least you kind of need that to strive, to want, especially if you're in like an attacking player, you need that ego to kind of want to take that shot on. And I don't know whether you watched the Arsenal game yesterday, but Kai Havertz missed a sitter, an absolute sitter, because he ended up getting a goal later on, but he should have scored in like the 4th minute or something like that, and he just had no confidence. So you've kind of got to have that ego to be able to come. And I think that if we don't the gap between the two levels isn't just going up from the Championship to the Premier League. It's like going from League Two to the Premier League. Now it's so difficult to actually make that. And the teams that have made it, you look at Forest, you look at especially like your Fulhams and your Bournemouths, they spent years yo-yoing and building money up from going up and down so often that eventually they had enough money to stay up. But it's taken years and years of misery, joy, going up, going down, for them to actually kind of build up a war chest to be able to kind of put enough money together to fight for a place. And then they've both had to get amazing managers in Iraola and Nuno as well. If you don't have that, then you don't stay up. But I do think Farke's football, if you add a few additions, I think it does keep us up. But
I agree.
The more managers you go through, the more likely you are to go down anyway. So it becomes a very fine line as to if we have enough to be roughly like 15th consistently throughout the season, I don't think he gets the chop. If we're in the bottom three for a considerable amount of time, a bit like Wolves type of thing this season so far, they're looking the most likely to stay up out of the bottom four. Everton, unfortunately, are pretty much safe. But if Everton win this weekend, I think they go above Scum.
Ooh,
I think if they lose,
I can have a quick look now. Also, I saw this comment. This during politics, I have to know what was said.
I said that the Premier League was kind of like a small chasm of what a capitalist society is in terms of the people at the top with all of the money, and we're just feeling grateful at the bottom, feeding on the scraps. And that's essentially what the Premier League is that we're just grateful to be there, even if we, even if we don't get actually a fair crack at the whip. It's so far the bottom three in the Premier League are reading how the top three in the Championship looked last season. If you just put Southampton, obviously, I know we finished third, but yeah. Oh dear, have you seen the chat?
Oh, I'm going to watch it as it goes in. Sunderland winger, how's it go?
What minute are we on? 90th.
The 87th.
87th. They find a way, don't they? They find a way.
That's a finish that some strikers would genuinely be very, very proud of.
And this is why they've had the Ipswich tag at times this season. They're just not up there. They're not second, they're not top. But this is why a lot of people have said Ipswich, because they get these results, don't they? 3-2s, 4-3s, late on winners, going in off people's asses. It just happens for them, doesn't it? Fair play to them, because they give it a go.
Yeah,
fair play.
Mean, if it works for them, it works for them. That doesn't mean that I have to be happy with it.
No.
I believe, Matty, you have mentioned that you are going to be nipping off and doing a stream in a moment's time.
Yeah.
How have you found your deadline day? What's your plans for your stream? Anything fun, crack-a-lacking?
No, mate. Just go waffle on about everything I've waffled on here, really, mate. It's probably just two people, my mum and dad, hopefully, if they haven't gone to bed. But nah, I'm only joking. They don't even watch. Not even football fans. Horrible. But no, just thought I'd go have a little waffle, close it off, and then that's it, mate. But I've really enjoyed I think it's my first ever time on your show, this, Joe. First ever
it
time.
Might be. I don't often ask very many people unless I'm doing like a quiz sort of thing. But I'm considering doing it more often. It's nice to do like a long loosey goosey stream,
Been really nice. It's been a good deadline day, even though we haven't signed any players. I'm still smiling, so that is a positive. And it was nice to see you again, Eva Love. So yeah, brilliant.
Always lovely. Always a pleasure.
Always lovely.
Always a vibe. Right.
See you later. Thank you. See you later. Bye.
So
and there were two.
Then there were two. Sunderland are winning, which is fun, which is an adventure, which is what we all wanted to see earlier, right? He's put that away like a genuine top tier centre forward, and I genuinely think Jan Paveda's had something to do with that. So I'm a little bit mad, unless he's just come on. I don't know. I don't know. This is a good reminder that this is in fact a deadline day stream, and we've not covered anything news flavoured for quite some time. So I'm going to have a quick skim through various news bits and bobs. Had a skim, and Jeremiah Mullen has left. That's all we've got at the minute, which is kind of a shame, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those where it's like oh dear, he's gone. Oh well. So you're not the biggest of fans of us not getting anyone in, as far as I can tell. What would you have gone
No.
for at the start of the window, and what would you go for now if you could?
Anybody, just the fucking cleaner, somebody to sit on the bench. I don't know. I think ideally I would have wanted 9, 10 and centre back, then 10 and centre back, then a 10, and then a 9 or a 10, then a 9.5, then just a
Then just
footballer,
someone who
Yeah.
can kick a ball
a
in the right
a
general
fourth choice
direction.
keeper, like just somebody.
We'll sign a
If it all
first choice
works
keeper.
out, then we've financially been incredible. But I am frustrated. I'm not gonna lie, because if it all goes wrong, it's just gonna be really toxic, and I hate not being able to watch content. And that's what happens when it goes crazy. I struggle to watch because football is my happy place, and it's the place where like I watch lots of football, not just Leeds. I watch loads and loads. I was watching a Leicester fan channel the other day. I was watching obviously Cardiff ones, watching Arsenal one, watching a Plymouth one. I watch loads and loads of football and content, and I really struggle because I'm not that kind of. It takes a lot for me to get riled up that I feel like willing to share that online. I shout and scream and swear and am awful when I'm watching the game, but I wouldn't commit to doing that online because I think you look like a bit of a insert expletive here type of thing, because you just look like an idiot, I think, and that's fine because you know what, it gets fantastic views, so all power to anybody who wants to do that. That's, I'm not judging people for doing that. I'm just saying that I would feel uncomfortable. That would be me playing a character rather than me being me. I'm very chilled, but it takes time for me to be composed and chilled, as referred to with the QPR game. Like that was just raw emotion type of thing. Whereas I usually film my videos the day after so that if I'm angry or elated, I can come on and just be a little bit more level headed and pragmatic. So I struggle to watch football content when everybody is just like, I hate Leeds, I hate this is awful, your opinion is rubbish, you don't know what you're talking about, blah blah blah. And then you get the idiots that, immediately when they don't have anything intelligent at all to say, they bring the gender card into it and things, and it's just like, come on, this is why at least when Leeds are winning and we're doing well, my gender gets forgotten about, but as soon as everything goes negative, that's just another thing to be like thrown at me kind of thing. So I just can't be bothered with it, and then I feel bad because I feel like I'm a fair weather fan if I then don't watch my people who I always watch type of thing. But I just can't stand the kind of, I've stayed away from the transfer window stuff really this one, because I have been dreading the fact that we wouldn't sign somebody, and obviously the fan base just gets very
Heated.
and I
Yeah.
just, it makes me uncomfortable when everybody's just screaming at one another for having a difference of an opinion. And I'll call people out and I'll call people idiots when they're being idiotic. I don't call people out for having an opinion, that's fine. But when you've got no substance other than being clickbaity and acting like you're an extra on Twitter, like, just have some originality, and that's where I get stressed, and then it takes away my enjoyment. And I love football, so I don't want my enjoyment to be taken away by people. Yeah, so
I was going to say, when you mentioned the note about the gender cardy bit, I was sort of like, this is where I stay shush, because I am well aware that as a white dude, I will have no problem talking about any sporting thing in any setting, because no one's going to invalidate me because of something I can't help. Like, also, side note, Jan Paveda just fell over when he was one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Very funny. But it's one of those things where I'm just sort of like, absolutely go for it, because I know that I'm not the kind of person that struggles with the issues that you are struggling with right now. So just go. Yeah, I can see why that is an absolute nightmare to deal with, because, like, in terms of people like in the Leeds space, you are up there as the cleverest, or the people that like watch football and understand what is going on in terms of systems and shapes and structures and all that sort of stuff. And I wasn't aware that it was a fairly consistent thing, that when things are going wrong, they just sort of go, yeah, but you don't know anything about football because of a thing that you can't help.
yeah,
That's really frustrating. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, it's just when people don't have anything logical and educated, and I don't mean educated as if like you have to have a poker stuck up your backside at all. I just mean as in you don't have to believe every kind of media outlet that tells you to think a certain way. You can form your own opinion, and just because I have a female anatomy doesn't mean that I can't understand how a ball is kicked from one end of a rectangular pitch to another. Like I have got one of my best friends got me, well, he gave me his Christmas present that he got from his mum, which is a footballing encyclopedia. And like I've been reading it, and like I love football. And this is coming from a girl who didn't like football really growing up. I love watching England, whereas now I hate watching England because it's the most depressive football you've ever seen in your life. It's basically like watching Burnley on repeat, especially under Southgate. So I love watching football, and I think that it should be encouraged. And when I was growing up, football wasn't encouraged with girls until you were in secondary school. And then in secondary school, there's a lot of things going on, especially with a female body, where you do not want to run around and necessarily get like, involved with that. Whereas if you are encouraged from being a young child, then you want to do it. There's such a massive gap in every level when it comes to men and women watching and being involved with football. And I think that it's something that I would love more investment and more people to be doing it and talking about it, because then as soon as when somebody doesn't have an argument, they just turn things around and go very narcissistic, and they just throw go back to the kitchen sink. And the irony is actually in my household, it's my husband that does the cooking. So, I burn stuff. I am very lucky if I don't burn cereal. So, my husband does the cooking in our household, but he also then does the DIY as well. But I do all the organizing. So, we have our roles, but they aren't necessarily 100% traditional. And yeah, it just annoys me because I get so much enjoyment out of watching football. It's like when me and my husband go on holiday, I love to just basically I go into my COVID mode and I isolate away from everybody and try and ignore every human being possible. Whereas my husband's out and he's there chatting with everybody. But I find I end up talking more with the men on holiday because they'll be wearing a football shirt. And so I'll know immediately, I can talk to you about football, and that's where I find a common ground with people. So I love football. but it's not just kind of like she loves football because of the men in the football. It's like, no, I love watching football. I love watching, I'm a Leeds fan, but I watch so much football, everything that's on TV. The kids get fed up of me. Even my husband doesn't watch as much football as I do now, and he was the one that really kind of got me into it. So it's just something that should be encouraged more. And women have a different way of looking at things, so women can view things in a different way that maybe a man wouldn't. And that's not saying that it's right or wrong, it's just a different perspective, and that's what football's all about. It's about opinions. And have you're married, women have opinions, don't they? So like
A couple sometimes.
so
When men allow it. No, kidding, to be clear.
yeah, my husband likes to play that same thing, but he knows his place as well. But yeah, I just think let's have a world where we can have a good conversation about football, and it doesn't matter what you've got going on kind of down there. If you've got eyes and ears and a partial bit of a brain, then you can watch football, because I've seen some of the people who watch football and there isn't an awful lot of brain going on there.
I was going to say, even partial bit of brain is optional for a lot of people. I mean, we've hung around on YouTube for long enough. We've seen what a lot of comment sections can look like, and in a lot of places, it's a spooky time. And this is a good point. I watch football, and I sometimes have some idea of what's going on. It's basically the perfect example, to be honest with you. These people don't deserve your attention. Observe them and realize they're the issue. The likes of Joey Barton are an irrelevance and clinging on for attention. Oh, I forgot Joey Barton existed for a sweet, blissful moment. I've just been, David, I've just been reminded.
I think that's the point, though, is that people keep giving a voice to somebody who is so notably idiotic, and not only a danger to the sport, but is a danger to the opposite gender, as has been proven time and again. But people listen to to somebody saying that. People are like, oh well, he's allowed an opinion and blah blah blah. I always find it's always the people that say, oh God, all these woke people, these snowflakes, are the people that actually get more offended than anybody else about, it's just a joke, or it's just this, or it's just that. Well, why are you getting offended? Isn't that a bit of a snowflake behavior to be getting so offended?
You got offended by the fact that you just gave your opinion, but you got offended at my opinion that you're a bit of a twat. So, like, you got to pick one or the other, right? Yeah, and this is going to go a little bit beyond football. Welcome to modern society is a little bit scuffed with Joe and Evie. I think a significant chunk of it comes from like the direction that social media is heading in right now, because a lot of the time you get stuff like on TikTok and various other places, but it's primarily TikTok as far as I can tell, where you get like teenage dudes who don't know who they are yet, who don't know much about the world at all yet, and people who have made stuff to hit an algorithm ridiculously hard will end up having their videos pushed to these fairly like vulnerable young people who will take on these opinions that are in many cases genuinely horrific and very, very harmful to like everyone surrounding them. And it borderline leads to like a form of like Andrew Tate-esque radicalization, and that's weirdly the direction we just keep on shifting, because people just have access to very, very bad ideas like all the time. Mark at LUFC, she talks significantly better shite than you do. And
thank you for proving my point, Mark.
Yeah, you've done
always a pleasure.
A spectacular job of just with pinpoint accuracy proving that you are the problem. So well done, 10 out of 10. And within your very message, you've kind of proved a paradox in that it's clearly not shite because you've proven the point. Bloody hell. I'm kind of curious as to what the 1% is here, to be honest with you. What have you said that you think is the 1% you've not got spot on? I'm kind of curious.
I'd love to see what Marker means.
I
I'd
don't know
love to
what
know.
Marcus
I'd
talking about.
love to know what shite I talked. Like, please.
Like, yeah, very little on
I'm
this.
intrigued. I am intrigued.
I know it was a figure of speech. It's fine. This was trying to build on the thing. Jack, you are one of the good dudes. All is fine. But yeah, go ahead. You remain unbanned because, as I have always said in this channel, the only time that I will ban a person isn't for a disagreement of opinion, but is for like being discriminatory, being horrifically rude to anyone in the chat, which arguably you have been, but you have. We'll call it a trial. You've got a point to prove, so go ahead. I don't even know what this means. In fact, no, hold on. I'm gonna cover this one for one moment. My apologies. I know I'm doing the man speaks for woman thing. That's not the
Oh
goal
my
here.
god, oh god.
I know. I just. It's because I hate women, and you shouldn't be allowed to speak for yourself. Marka, define woke. Because I feel like you don't have a definition. You just have thing I don't like, which is definitely a take. But I insist. Correct. Yes. Unabashedly. Go for it.
I'm just intrigued. I don't understand if you are going to say that I talk shite, and that is 100%. You are allowed to have that opinion because guess what? Nobody has to agree with everything anybody says online. Like, you know, but in my opinion, Joe has defended Melier for far too long and Bamford, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to name call. Go on, drop some stats. Go on, come on, drop some stats.
No, I've not got stats this time. I've not got stats. I simply come to repent. Repent for my sins of, yeah, I did back Melier a bit too long, didn't I? And to repent on the fact that when, I think it was 2 injuries ago, when we learned that Pat wasn't available for a match day squad, I was like, I might have stuck to this flag for a little bit too long, mightn't I? So I am improving. I'm getting there. I do need someone to guide me into this post Melier and Bamford world, but it's scary out here in the light rather than the dark. But it's a spooky place. Just to have a very quick look at this one. Are you offended right now?
No.
No, I'm not offended.
I'm asking for a conversation. I'm asking for a point, and they're not name calling, just stating you talk shite. But please define shite, because shite is objective, unless you're talking about the literal shit. And no, there is no shit. So if you can please define what you mean.
Wait, was I not meant to have?
No, don't admit it. Don't admit it. Just, you know, it's okay. It's okay. It happens to everybody. It's fine. Yeah, please give some examples of what shite that you think I speak. I genuinely will not be offended. If you knew the life that I had led, you would know I do not get offended very easily. Again, my feminine looks and, you know, this delicate disposition is quite deceiving. I am quite able to take criticism quite happily.
I'm just devastated that Joe went boom boom and Joe was not meant to went boom boom.
I'm devastated that you just stated the phrase "boom boom"
I thought,
online,
look,
and that is
look.
out there forever, Joe.
It is. But then again, sod it. It's like thus far, it's already been a
Can I
3-hour
just
live
come to
stream.
Gary E, because he told me earlier on that Melier is just learning his craft. The guy has played over 200 games, regardless of his age. He is a seasoned professional now. Melier has played over 200 games for Leeds United. The guy is not just learning his trade. I still have faith in him as a keeper. I just don't think it's at Leeds. I think we have let him down because we've not given him competition. We haven't given him good coaching or anything like that. I really think that Leeds United have let Melier down, but Melier this season has let Leeds United down more than we have let him down this season. So yes, he may only be 24, but he is now stealing a living, and he has let Leeds United down. So please tell me how I have picked on a player. He is not a baby anymore. He is a professional. He is paid a decent amount of money to keep the ball out of the back of the net. The defenders and the midfield keep the ball far away from him, and he still concedes. So please tell me how I am picking on him. He is not a baby anymore. He has played 200 senior games for Leeds United. He has been our starting goalkeeper for all 3 seasons in the Premier League, last season, this season, and half of the season of the promotion season. So 5 seasons he has been a starting goalkeeper. If he can't keep the ball out of the net after 5 seasons, he is maybe in the wrong profession.
And even I'm admitting that at this point. That it's in the long term, there's a keeper there. But for now, not here. I don't think so. Just to quickly note as well, Baby Zebra said, I believe you may be in the wrong place, Marker, based on the politics double degree streamer whose channel you're on. Correct. I've got a bachelor's and a master's degree in politics, so I would like to return to a little technicality that I was going to before the Melier discussion happened. Leftists permanently offended liberals. I just realised leftists and liberals are completely different sections of the political spectrum. So even your own definition of, and I'm going to use your quote here, with observations being relative to the observer, not when it comes to objective fact. Like, I could say, Marker isn't a human being, he is in fact a squid that somehow got a keyboard. That doesn't become reality because I've observed it that way. That's just not true. It's confusing. Yes. Anyway, it's a tribal thing that us Leeds fans remain loyal within the fan base unless it's blatantly obvious. I don't even know if I was like, and this is me just sort of like making a point on the like Melier backing for as long as I did. I don't know if it was a tribalism thing as much as it was I felt quite bad for him thing. And like having done goalkeeping, people have pointed this out to me in the past. It's like, well, you were a championship goalkeeper. Yeah, I know, but I still conceded stupid shit many a time. And I've like there was one case where a wet night at 7-a-side, I go down to collect the ball, and one of my feet just gives way beneath me, and it leaves like legs splay open, ball trickles through me at about 2 miles an hour. Can't get to it in time. I know how it feels to concede stupid goals like that, and I was in a position of like, I feel kind of bad for the guy, and kind of want to be in a spot where like he's able to improve through time, and I've now seen that that isn't necessarily the case. So that's more of an explanation on that. I don't think it's a tribalism thing. I think it's just a human thing of empathy and empathy going wrong. But empathy is not a bad thing, I don't think, right?
No, empathy is good. I think when empathy moves on to blindly defending then you've gone too far, kind of thing, and you held back. You held back, but you were on that line at times, but you have come back to the correct side of understanding that unfortunately Meslier wasn't doing the basics correctly, and that's all we ask, because in the Championship that's all that's really being thrown at him. He doesn't have Salah coming at him, he doesn't have Haaland coming at him, he's got Ashley Barnes coming at him, kind of thing. So like, I think that's the difference, is that you can forgive Meslier for a lot of things in the Premier League because Bielsa football left us wide open a lot of the time. Marsh ball, just and the fact that we recruited so poorly defensively, you add those three things together, and then you add obviously the final season where we went through like 4 managers. That also doesn't help with confidence and ability to actually just be able to learn anything, because of the fact that the styles were so contradictory. In a season and a half, we went from playing possession-based fluid football to Jesse Marsh to Sam Allardyce. Like it was a testing time to be a Leeds fan, and you can forgive him a lot of that. But I think we've come down, and considering it's not just one step down, it's a couple of steps down when you come down to the Championship. It's like it's a couple of steps down, but 5 steps to get back up again. So regardless of what happens at the end of this season, whether we're still down here or whether we are promoted, I would like to say goodbye to Meslier at the end of the season, because I do think that we can get a better goalkeeper even within this league. There's better goalkeepers, and it is, you love your stats, and it is statistically, we can get a better goalkeeper. So yeah, I think we do that regardless.
Where was it? Captain Ahab popped in a comment a moment ago. If Daniel Farke wanted players, he would have had them. I don't feel this is necessarily true, right? Because he said many a time in many a press conference, like, we're looking for a number 10 that can do creative stuff, and specifically mentioned like being rotational with Brendan Aronson would absolutely be ideal. I don't think you say that if you don't want the players, right? I feel like that is sort of throwing the owners under the bus without necessarily needing to. Like, that feels like it would be the biggest unforced error possible, especially when you're also mentioning at the same time, and a number 9 would be good because Pat Bamford spends the majority of his time injured. So do you also reckon, like good old Captain Ahab, who is hunting the white whale, do you agree that the white whale of a number 9 isn't something that Daniel Farke wanted, or was he all over that Moby Dick? Phrasing, let's not. Or was he hunting for the mythical beast?
Yeah, because that's so much better.
It is a bit better.
Just going to throw up a little bit. I do think that he wanted a 10. I think he wanted a 10 more than a 9, because he will see it as, if Joseph gets his confidence back, then we've got 2 number 9s. Whereas I think if Aronson goes, I don't think that we don't have the backup in how Farke wants to play. We've got people who can do a job, but we shouldn't have to do a job when we're going for not just promotion right now, we're going for the title. I'm fine with just getting promotion, top 2, but realistically, we should be going for the title. We are top of the league, so it is right now, with 16 games to go, it's ours to lose. So for me, I was watching Just Joe's show earlier on, and obviously talking about the money and talking about the potential for obviously going up and the stadium and things like that, and just wondering if that has any factor in terms of trying to not spend so that we can get that done ASAP as soon as promotion is ticked off. I hope that that's not the case, because for me that's been presumptuous. We have to get over the line. It should be easier this season, but there are 4 teams very, very close. You know, Sunderland are on the same points as Burnley now. It is goal difference that is keeping them away. So I hope that the plan works. I want the plan to work, because whereas I do unfortunately get this really sickening feeling that there are so many Leeds fans that are more bothered about being right than they are about Leeds getting promoted, because they have this societal issue now that being right on social media is actually more important than what you're being right or wrong about. And yeah, that's a whole other issue. But I do think that people are just so bothered about being right and I told you so's than they are actually about Leeds. Whereas I'd rather concede that I was wrong. Whereas right now, I don't want to. I said I would be annoyed at the 49ers if they didn't bring anybody in, and I am annoyed that they haven't brought anybody in. I really am, but I hope that I am wrong, because that means Leeds United get promoted. I hope that this doesn't have a knock-on effect to our to our promotion. I really hope that it doesn't have any sort of anything to do with promotion, because that's not what I want, because things will go down and all the fun that we've had this season, it's more retrospective fun because we haven't enjoyed a lot of it at the time, but we've enjoyed it afterwards. I think this game is really the Cardiff game is probably the only game where we have fully enjoyed it in the moment. A lot of the other results we've enjoyed it afterwards, as well as seeing the table afterwards as well. So yeah.
It's less of a case of, I love how I lost that sentence before I started saying it. Oh my god. So it's like when we first came up under Bielsa, you had, for example, that Ayling goal. Everyone lost their minds and it was genuinely fantastic because it was a spectacular finish. Very, very nice. And it was a big sign that we're still heading in the right direction. But that was an identical situation to this one. That was also, we need to go up, we need to win matches. And like the level of joy at that point was so much higher. I feel like almost exclusively because, I don't know, was it the case of because Bielsa? Was it the case of because we hadn't been up before? I'm not entirely sure. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in Matt to answer that question. And he doesn't know that I'm bringing him in to answer it. Hi, Matt.
Hello.
Hello.
Well, hello, AV. What was the question?
The question is, why does it feel different this time? Is there a reason?
I think it's because we've been in the Prem recently. I think that's what it is. I think we've been in the Prem recently, so people have higher standards, or it could be a bit of entitlement in there as well. Because I think for some fans do have that. But with the squad we have, we should go up. But you know what happens? What could happen? Because we've seen it. We've seen this story before. Like we should do something, we don't do it, and then just.
I think currently I'm sort of perched in that position of last time we rushed something because we desperately needed someone in order to get promoted. We ended up throwing 40 million quid in a bin. So I don't know how I feel about it. I think everyone started the season saying that we've got the best squad in the league. Everybody. There was no one that was along the lines of, I don't think that we're good enough to make the top 2. Everyone instead was saying that if Daniel Farke doesn't get the squad promoted, Daniel Farke is a failure. And now we're a couple of weeks later. Sheffield United have signed the likes of Rob Holding, who honestly I thought was about 40 years of age and retired. And people are now significantly more panicky as a result of it, even though, like, if you look at our squad and say, would you take Rob Holding? Everyone would say, no. Why would we do that? So is it a case of we've all been Leeds TSD'd up the chuff and we're now sort of a little bit spooked about what happens just in case? Is it a case of we urgently need to do a thing because the alternative is scary? Is that what's going on?
I'd say that. I could say that. I mean, you look at our squad. I mean, look at our bench. Once, you know, you look at the players on the bench and you're like, one of them's not going to be, if everyone's fit, one of them's not going to be there. Like, that's like mad because that bench, in my opinion, close to top 6 if they were in a starting 11. Maybe up there near top 6, I think.
Yeah, I think they'd be in the conversation at the very least, and the only position you're really missing is a 10. So you put like an average championship 10 in there, and it's probably fine, right?
Well, you put Joseph in the 10. If we're adding Bamford to that, you put Joseph in the 10 and Bamford up top. That gets close to top 6.
Would Joseph be a good 10? No, let's not. Right, if we're having
we're not doing
Joseph,
that. We're not doing that.
Because we have that conversation, we speak it into reality, and if we speak it into reality, then we'll end up against Plymouth on the final day of the season with Evie on a plane, just losing her nut because it's like, oh, good, Matteo Joseph playing in the 10.
I'm sick of the Gnontos in the 10. I'm sick of that already. Like, he's not even doing it on the wing, and people want him in the 10.
Is he not doing it?
I think we'll see a new invigorated Gnonto after that goal, because it wasn't even a good goal, but a goal is a goal. Like, the goalkeeper should have saved that. It wasn't that powerful of a shot. He should have saved it. But I think he was just kind of done by that point. You know, I really felt for the goalkeeper. He was having no support from the other 10 players on the pitch. So I think that Gnonto, now that he's kind of got that, and I'm not saying the floodgates will open for Gnonto and Joseph, but they will feel better about themselves. It clearly meant a lot, and everybody knew that it meant a lot because they all went over and hugged. And I thought that Gilavogi potentially slapped Gnonto in the face when you look at the celebration, not on purpose, but as in, like, when they were all running in. Like, genuinely go and watch the like highlights, because when he runs in, he kind of clatters him, and obviously, like, Gilavogi's like 10 foot tall next to Gnonto. So I think that if Gnonto gets a little bit of form, then again, it's a potential. We started off with Gnonto in the number 9 last season, so, you know, if he can play the number 9, then he can play the number 10.
Oh, he does a bit fly into him. Yeah. I hadn't seen that until right now.
You see, Tanaka, he nearly got Tanaka's teeth taken out.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But that's clearly it. That clearly means something, and that's the second time that Gilavogi has ran over, and Gnonto has ran over to Gilavogi as well when he scored. So I like the fact that behind the scenes, and also, like, Gilavogi, when he does retire, should become like one of those kind of words of wisdom, goodness, wellness coaches type person, because his tweets and Instagram posts are just like truly inspiring. You know, you kind of feel like you're a whole human being after you read one of his tweets. They're incredible. But I think that because all of the players know that the goals mean that much, I genuinely think that we will have enough. I just would have liked to have been comfortable, like we've ticked something off. I agree with the players that other people are signing wouldn't potentially, are they better than Geldhart? You know, like, and Geldhart wasn't getting on our bench, so why are we too bothered about players that would barely get on our bench, let alone get into our starting 11? We have, other than 10, arguably we've at least got a replacement for every position on the pitch, and maybe Rodon as well, but you could argue that Ampadu could play right-centred right centre back. I don't want to see Struijk there. I hate seeing Struijk anywhere other than left centre back. I don't like seeing him at left back. That just Jesse Marsh flashbacks. And right centre backs gives me Southampton 3-1 from last season flashbacks. So yeah, I don't want to see him. I want to see Struijk at left centre back, and that is it. That's all I want to see. Whereas Ampadu, I'm sure could play. He's right-footed, so I'm sure he could play at right centre back.
Yeah, it's sort of frustrating because like Struijk is one of those players where you know that he has the ability to be in many, many, many different positions, but it's just not worked for him when he's done that. And maybe it's a matter of when we were in the Premier League and he was tried out as a left back. It was either when we were already in a destroyed side, because obviously we had 1,000 injuries at the end of Bielsa, or it was under Jesse Marsh, where anyone that tried to play anything other than within the middle 3 yards of the pitch was completely screwed, because you might as well have just been tied to a zip line that just ran the length of the field. But I think there's something in there in the future, but I don't want to mess with it whilst we're quite desperately trying to get promoted. There is another little bit of news. Latte Leth, who everyone thought that we would potentially have an interest in. No, that one's not happened. He has now actually gone to Atlanta, signed the contracts, been confirmed, 20 million quid, off you pop, which is, I mean, fine, I suppose. It doesn't really do any damage to us. I don't know if we were going to sign him at any point anyway.
It's a backwards move for his career.
Wait, with the MLS team, right? Not the oh my. You can go play with my armor on.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe he's like, at some point in my career, I want to play against Messi, and then he's like, well, he's 37 and can barely walk, and I will probably not play him anyway. But sure, let's give it a shot. In addition to that, Phil Hay has tweeted, which no one was expecting, specifically mentioning Leeds, but to say that Leeds never did out in January when I was there either. So it feels like.
Oh, Phil Hay.
Oh, Phil. Interesting thing, by the way, and I don't know if this is a thing I can talk about. Hold on. Evie, you know the big thing?
Mm-hmm.
Talk to Phil about that. Phil is not doing that because Phil is getting a black belt in kickboxing.
Huh?
Yeah.
No way.
His assessment is around that time, and he will therefore be unavailable.
Wow.
Which is great. Should be good fun. I never saw that. When I got the reply, I was like, okay, sure.
Especially not with all
Phil.
of his kind of operations and everything, that he's had on his head and stuff.
I imagine that makes him immune, because if he's got like a steel skull, what are you going to do? You're going to kick him in the head? You're going to break your leg? But sure, you could give it a go. I believe so, yes. But I'm not going to go any further on that because I don't want to right now. In terms of other various bits and bobs of transfer news, I'll be honest, I've not seen anything for quite some time. You could probably tell because this devolved into a general chatty stream quite some time ago. I am seeing Bamford trending. That's because someone started a fake rumour about Pat Bamford. Never mind, that does look a bit Pat Bamfordy. A mate of mine just been to the ticket office at Carrow Road and has seen Leeds striker Pat Bamford leaving. I don't think that's going to be a thing, is it? That would be incredibly stupid from Norwich. That would be
injured. Signing an injured player.
Well, yeah, but we do that.
Do we?
I'd be quite. If we could get some money for him, I'm like, yeah.
I was thinking like, well, but surely like that's similar to the Joseph case, right? Where like at some point Pat Bamford's going to be fit again. So
he hasn't scored since last season, whereas Joseph literally scored on Saturday.
He hasn't had a chance really, but
everyone scored on Saturday though. Marker, our favourite member of the comment section, could have scored on Saturday.
No, I think his wife would have kicked him out.
You think he's got a wife? That's a brave take. Yeah, I mean, we did sign Manor Solomon, to be fair, and he is a very, very, very sort of, or was at the time, a very, very injury-prone kind of guy. It was the same for Jed Spence. We signed him when he was injured, which, like, teams do that sometimes. I don't know if Evie's frozen or if she's just full statue mode. Oh.
Frozen?
We would have had movement if it was anything but frozen. Do you reckon we should freeze as well and just sort of like see what happens? Outside of that, there ain't much going on. I'll be honest with.
Oh, well, there was a bit. I went on Instagram. There might be a bit of news. Rafinha was playing cards.
Rafinha was playing cards.
Yeah.
What do you think about? What do you think about this emerging piece of news that happened whilst you were missing and frozen?
That's all the news we got.
Rafinha was playing cards. Wow.
There was less going on than I thought there would be, which is why you don't plan very long streams, folks. It's not always the best of ideas. But then again, I have had a very, very good time. We still have another half an hour or so. To be clear, by the way, if anyone needs to pop off at any point, that's all good, because I understand it's a very, very long stream. It's relatively late. But for the rest of the season, got Coventry up next. What are we feeling on Coventry? Because I'm kind of confident. We've got momentum. We absolutely pumped Cardiff, who were unbeaten in 7 or 8. Coventry, managed by Frank Lampard. And we know what happens against teams managed by Frank Lampard, as long as we're not playing at Elland Road and we don't have a racist Spaniard in net.
Oh, we're playing Everton.
Yeah, I was going to say we lost to Everton, who were under Frank Lampard.
No, we didn't. That's not true. That's a lie. That can't have happened.
Was it like 3-0 or was it 1-0? It was 3-0, wasn't it? Oh,
it was 3-0. I think we lost. We drew all, lost 3-0, drew 1-1, and then it was Dyche, and then we lost 1-0 by that ridiculous goal that Meslier should have saved because it came from the most bizarre angle.
It was just a cross. Just went back of the net.
Okay, well, I was feeling good. Cheers, Evie.
And didn't we lose to Chelsea at one point, who were also managed by Frank Lampard at that point as well?
3-1.
Yeah.
Hey, it's far. It's different.
Yeah, it's different now. We're managed by someone different. They're managed by someone different. I think that we will absolutely dominate them. Just without a doubt. I think we have all of the ball, and I think we score 8 and break our own record.
8.
I would love that. That would be. I'd be crying on stream for a whole other reason.
Okay, we have a slight breakdown in the comments, which is roughly, I would argue, what you were warning against a little bit earlier, Evie. So we have, in ascending order of madness, bastards. We should have signed someone. Pathetic. I like being monetized on YouTube, so I'm not going to go all out. Is it like I don't get this, right? Because it was 2 days ago we demolished Cardiff, right? And like, surely there is the argument for depth, which, fair enough, I've been agreeing with the argument throughout this entire window. True. But like, I think it's a step too far to say that it's like some big old bit of negligence to have not signed someone by this point, because it just kind of like, were we honestly expecting us to anyway? Is that like, it would have been nice, but I don't think it's game over for us. I think we're all good.
Oh, Would have liked a 10, but
Here we
top of the
go.
league is fine.
I'm waiting for part 2. And to be clear, right? Everyone is saying need 10, need 9 points for the goal scoring stats. We're the top scoring team in this league. We've outscored, I believe, any Premier League team. I'll just double check that just to make sure I'm not going to look at tit. Yes. I don't think that's the case for League One.
It's the top 2 leagues. We've scored the most. We've got the best goal difference as well.
Had a quick check. Also the case for League One. And let's have a quick look at League Two as well. And also the case for League Two. So to say that we are just done is, I think, a wild statement for me. It's a bit of a silly one. I will admit, this might have been me. I might have thought that we were getting 3 players in. We then proceeded to not get 3 players in. But as mentioned, I will happily take that as me being wrong, because I was. It's fine. This is admittedly the risk, I think, but I think we'll have enough.
I think we've got enough.
Yeah.
I do think we've got enough. I would have just liked us to be more comfortable so that when we do the Leedsy thing, we have backup options for that, to counteract the Leeds. That's what I would have liked. But if we carry on going this way, then there's no reason. This time last season, we weren't top. This time last season, I don't believe we were even in the top 2. I think we were 3rd or 4th. So we're all already in a much better place. We don't have to make up 17 points. We're fine. But I do think that I would have felt better. It would have just given us a new shiny toy feeling. And sometimes that's enough, especially when you're having to play 3 games and it's miserable weather and all of these things, and you've got to play Millwall twice in a short period of time. Like, it's just not always nice. So I would have liked a nice new shiny toy to just distract us a little bit and be like, look, here's what we got. And even if we don't see them, because we got Schmidt and so far we've seen like 25 minutes of him. So just because, and I suppose that's another kind of thing, is we signed Schmidt in the summer, and other than one cup game, we've seen him for 20 minutes in the league. So what if we spend a load of money on a player that we then see for 20 minutes and has no actual proper contribution to the team? Then you say, well, that was a waste of money. We might as well have not spent anything. We got promoted anyway. It's 6 and 2 3s type of thing.
Yeah.
Saying that, I would have still just preferred us to get a new shiny toy. I like new shiny things.
But then you've also got the risk of, if you get the new shiny thing, like we did with Connor Roberts last season, there's a chance that, well, what if your new shiny thing isn't quite as good as your current shiny thing? And then they don't get in the side anyway, and you have wasted the money and not gotten promoted anyway, which is what happened last season. So the shiny thing isn't always a good thing. It's not always a nice shiny thing. Sometimes it's just a shiny thing. Also, the message was a couple of minutes ago, but Andy, let's not go objectifying members of this panel. If you do, you will be gone. That is the last warning. This is another good point as well. We do need recruitment that's sort of Premier League ready, because I don't think putting money into permanent signings for players that aren't going to be playing in the Premier League is a good idea at this point. I think that's throwing money into a bonfire because you aren't going to be playing them next season, which is sort of, we've got the double issue of someone needs to break in that will be playing both this season and next season if they're worthy of like throwing money at. Thoughts on that one, Matt? Would anyone need to be Premier League ready in order to like come in, or?
I mean, I don't think we need anyone. I mean, we're not getting anyone, it looks like. But but like, if we did bring someone in, just say like last minute, all of a sudden we brought someone in and they Would they need to be Prem ready? Probably, because you look at it, and if they're not even starting for the team in the Championship, then most of the starters in the Championship next season will be on the bench, in my opinion, most of them. Like, I look at the squad and I go, Melier, bench, or he's gone. I mean, if Melier stays, I'll be fine, to be honest, if he's a second option. Who you got? Your Bogle, probably give him a go. Give him a chance. Yeah, I would. Strauch starts. Rodon, you give a chance. I like Rodon, but I think sometimes, I don't know if he continues, like, because you know how when he gets the ball sometimes and he runs forward. I don't want him to do all that a lot in the Premier League, because if he loses it, we're just going to be open at the back. Firpo, if he stays, if we give him a new deal, which are we going to? Maybe.
I kind of want us to. And
I want us to, yeah.
I was saying like a week ago that I wasn't particularly bothered either way, because like he's a really, really good left back for this level. So it'll be fine. Not you, Andy, different Andy. I was saying really, really good left back for the level, but we don't know if he can make the step into the Premier League. And then the little bastard gets 3 assists in 1 match and looks like he could have had a couple more. And that's just made me think, well, why don't we just give him another 2 years? Why not just because?
Would you give Byram a new deal as a backup? Because I personally would. I think he's good enough as a backup.
I don't know, so I'm going to take the coward's approach and ask Evie.
I'm going to go against you both, and I'm going to say I allow Firpo to walk off into the sunset and let him be remembered for the last 2 seasons rather than be able to see him again in the Premier League. I think he wants to go. I think this is his last big contract, and I don't think we would give him anything more than 2 years. And if I'm a player with an injury record like he has had over the years, I want at least a 3-year deal. And I don't think he gets that at Leeds. So I think we let Firpo walk off into the sunset with only good memories. And by the end of it, because the Premier League has been washed from him, but I would give Byram a 1-year extension, because I don't think you lose anything by giving him an extension, because he can be an option. He can be a Gilavogi type player, a hype man. He can do a job for cup games. He can be the extra backup when you absolutely need it. He won't cost you much in wages. So if you're getting a backup option in the Premier League, Sam Byram's wages are going to be a quarter of what you would have to pay somebody new who has no connection with the club in order to come and sit on the bench. So yes, I would give Byram a new deal, but I wouldn't give Firpo one, because I think it suits everybody. I think if you're going to give Firpo a new deal, you have to give him a 3-year deal, and I don't think he's worth a 3-year deal.
If you could give him a 1-year deal, would you give him a 1-year deal?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So it's not just a case of you're sending Firpo off to Dignitas. Well done, you've done your thing, but let's just
off
to the Swiss clinic and we'll have gone with you.
No, I
We're
just
not
think
going that way.
From a player's perspective, he would be daft to. Right now, he's playing in the Championship. He looks incredible. You put him next year in the Premier League and we have the same issue. Even if we are more stable, we still have the same issues when it comes to him not being defensively sound, going up against Mo Salah, going up against Saka, going up against Premier League quality. Therefore, his quality will look to the naked eye as if he's dropped off a cliff. Whereas right now, he looks incredible. So I say it looks best for everybody. He can negotiate the best deal possible. We can have only good memories of him getting us promoted. And by the time he's gone, we forget the fact that he was a card liability in the first season and a half that we had him. So I think that's the best possible option, because I think if he goes back to the Premier League, he gets exploited again, and then he can't negotiate a 3-year deal anywhere, or he can, but it'd be at a lower wage. Whereas right now he's in a promotion-winning, championship-winning team. He can, ride off on his white horse and negotiate a kind of his final big contract of his career before he then has to go into the 1-2 year deals.
Why have you got to put that idea in? Firpo would look spectacular on a horse.
He
Why
really
are
would.
you going to put that
With,
idea into
with a white
respective
horse on the in his yellow shirt, the yellow Leeds kit, because I think it looks brilliant on Firpo.
That'd be spectacular. You just why you got to do that? That's just unacceptable. To cover this one off, Ward-Prowse has been pulled back to West Ham. I want to say it's between West Ham and Forest. Either way, he wouldn't be able to come here because he's played for 2 clubs already this season.
Potter wants him anyway.
Also that, yeah. So you can't actually have him, and we wouldn't get him anyway, is what I think is the general gist behind that one. It's not going to happen. Andy disagrees with you. We need a specialist left-sided player. Paying Byron peanuts can't be justified. Any retort?
I would be playing him for right-sided, not left-sided. We need left-sided, left-footed players. I fully agree, but I was meaning he would be a backup for right back, not for left back. I agree. He can get away with it in the Championship, but I don't think he can really get away with it right now anymore in the Premier League. So yeah, I fully agree with Andy, but I don't think that you can say that paying him peanuts for playing as a right back when that is what he was actually created for originally.
Just going to address something in the chat, and this one's a fun one. Just we'll have a hush for a moment. You must all be English. Matt, where are you right now?
Australia.
Is that English, or have you had several conflicts to be not English a couple of times? There may have been some shenanigans on that one, and this is how I know you're trolling. Fair enough to you, sure, why not? What happened with the Armenian lad? I practiced his name and everything, and I've forgotten it. Spurchan? Spurchan sounds right.
Is that the one from Summer?
No, that's the one from like 2 days ago.
Oh, right.
Number 10, Edward Spurchan, I believe, was his name. Currently playing in the Russian Premier League. Is someone that is likely to get a move, but not yet. It's looking like it's going to be a summer one. A hell of a lot of interest in the guy. Not currently on the move purely because he plays at Krasnodar, and Krasnodar are very, very much looking like they are on a title push. So it's going to be a case of they think that they can get something done. Also, we're not all English because Jay is Glaswegian. My condolences. I thought Andy was referring to the chat. If Andy is referring to the chat, then also incorrect because, as mentioned, we have a Glaswegian. Premier League wingers are brutal. We need better than Firpo, Bogle, and Byram. No time for sentimentality. I think our system is a little bit better at dealing with Premier League wingers than our last one, though. Right? Like, look at what exists with Everton as an example. They've not got the best wing backs, but they'll be okay, I think.
And look who we had. Who was our back four? What was it? Ayling, Cooper, Strauch, and
Firpo sometimes.
Oh god.
We also
in
had
the Premier League.
Cock and Lorente as well.
Oh my god. And
Counterpoint, Dallas out of position. Also occasionally at left back. And Yanni. To be fair, I trust Firpo now more than I trusted Alioski then.
There is nothing wrong with Alioski.
What? Alioski was great that season.
There is nothing wrong with Alioski on the pitch. There is something wrong with Alioski in his head. And that isn't something
that's what made him incredible. Was the fact that he was just spot on.
Yeah. You remember against Arsenal where he did like a spin and put Saka on his ass? I always remember that. Yeah. You just spun him.
I just remember the assist for the Man City, second goal.
If that was Messi, it'd be still played now.
Yeah.
We've got Mitchell doing a very, very nice countdown for us. We're at 9 minutes remaining, which is good. I might actually try and bring up a clock if I can. I'm just going to Google the word clock and hope that that does what I'm aiming for it to do.
Don't forget the L. I'm just saying that I don't want you to put the wrong thing in and be shocked by the images.
Oh, that would somewhat ruin the stream a little bit, wouldn't it? I think.
Monetization gone.
It's game over for the stream. Right, I'm going to faff around with StreamYard for a minute. So if people disappear, don't panic; they will reappear. So we've got a clock. That'll do it. That'll do it. We've got a nice little countdown there. We are at 8 minutes remaining. So we're all confident that we get Cameron Archer in the next 8 minutes, right? The rumor starts, the rumor cycles through, the rumor ends, all within 7.5 minutes now.
Yeah, that was a disappointing transfer window, to say the least. But
we can hope, we can dream, and maybe this is all to make sure that we can re-sign Rafinha in the summer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe we're just keeping the money back. Maybe he's going to come back with a Ballon d'Or. Maybe we've got a Ballon d'Or clause, so he wins the Ballon d'Or, and then it's like, yeah, well, now we just have to pay you 50p and we get him back. Like, that could be it, right? What was everyone's favourite link that didn't happen of the window?
I don't know. I've tried to keep myself genuinely away from a lot of the transfer crap because it is.
Oh, Matt Target.
Oh yeah, that one made no sense. I did not want Matt Target coming. Like, absolutely not.
The entire Matt Target conversation, like, to me, it was like, are we sure? Is that the best of ideas? Because, like, yeah, he's a left back, but we've got about 4 of those right now. Is that what we want to do? Don't go to bed just yet. Please let them tweet that out and then still do nothing.
And then Joseph goes.
Oh, God, don't. Matt, why would you even put that out into the ether? I just don't.
And we're bringing like an 18-year-old.
The thing, I don't even know if that happened.
Like Harry Gray, and we just say, "Look, here's our new signing.
Start him."
I don't even know if that happened. I don't know if I'd be mad, or if I'd be sort of like, no, you know what? Fine. Why not? Like, you've done the funniest thing possible. Thank you, social media admin. At least you've given us something to pay attention to for the rest of the window. That would be the dream. Some dreamer linked us to Danny Ceballos. I didn't hear about the Ceballos one, but that one's a little bit nuts. I'm trying to think of what other stupid links we had outside of the Target one. I'm kind of struggling. There was the Archer one. There was, after there was word that Latte had a deal agreed with Atalanta. Which one is it? Atlanta. One of them's Italian. But after the deal with Atlanta was agreed, we were linked with him, which was a bit like, why have we? No, obviously that's not happening. That's £20 million. But I don't know. I can't think of any more. Spurgeon was a fun 2 minutes, I suppose. Trying to think of what other deals nearly happened. Well, they didn't nearly happen. What other deals did I read up far too much about to try and do a video on? I don't know. There was an Archie Brown moment in there. That was quite good. Sam would have loved Spurgeon. But we're down to 4 minutes left. So I think what we're going to do in this 4 minutes is we're not going to hover on the transfer nothingness. We're going to float in a different direction. We are going to float in the general direction of Coventry without mentioning what happened last time we played against a Frank Lampard team. Matt, win, lose or draw?
Win.
Scoreline.
2-0. And people will be
Scorers.
upset. Let's go. Piro will get one. And someone wild. Let's go. Who's someone?
Say
A
Melia.
Grua free
Say Melia.
kick.
Oh.
Say Melia.
Evie, same questions to you. Do we have a predicted scoreline? Scorers?
Don't like doing score lines.
I know. I also don't, but I've been padding for the last 2 hours. So...
I'm going to say that we win. And it is going to be very close. And I think it's going to be Piro because Piro has scored against them the last 2 times before. So I'm going to
Do you
go Piro.
think the internet has a very normal, sensible reaction to it? Or
No, we're Leeds fans. Like, that just doesn't happen.
no, it's a work of fiction. We can dream. There was the few moments that were linked with Omar Bamadele. That was a pretty fun one. And Mitchell's reminded of what about that Austrian guy who firebombed a mosque? Maybe we could get him. I forgot that one was happened. I forgot that was a link in the summer window.
Yeah, that was the one that I got confused at earlier on.
No, wait, he didn't firebomb a mosque. He threw beer bottles at it. And then afterwards was like, I thought it was a bakery, as if that was somehow like...
Yeah, because criminal damage is okay as long as it's not religious.
Yeah, as long as you're destroying commercial properties rather than any other properties, go for it. Why not? Ryan Kent, were we actually linked with Ryan Kent this time around, or was that one of those where it's just like, can't think of anything, let's just talk Ryan Kent, shall we?
Probably.
Will Ryan Kent ever actually play for Leeds, in Leeds? I don't think he's ever been on a Leeds pitch, like as a home or away player. There was also Kelleher. I forgot about Kelleher.
Oh my god.
When everyone was like, we're going to sign a Melia replacement, and I was just like, no, we're not. Let's not pretend. But we are closing in on the final minute of the stream. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for it to hit the minute point. Once we hit the minute point, Matt, you have 20 seconds to plug. Evie, you have 20 seconds to plug. And then we'll go to the closing era of the... Yep, no pressure. Matt, go.
Subscribe to the channel. My name is... My channel is Matt Leeds. Go subscribe. MATLWDS. So only one T. Previews, reviews, other content, watch-alongs. Subscribe.
Evie, 20 seconds.
Wow, that was intense. I don't know how to follow that. Discourse of Peacocks. Go follow if you like talking listening to a girl who happens to like football and has a lot of opinions but isn't clickbaity and often likes to make puns out of video titles, and that's how she gets her kicks. So please go like and subscribe.
That bodes really well for 5 Minute Fridays, considering you went 50% over your 20-second time slot. And the window is shut. Are we surprised that we didn't get anyone, or is it a case of, yeah, fine?
I mean, considering we were told 2 hours ago that we weren't getting anybody, no, yeah, I'm fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I might have to stay away from social media tomorrow.
Oh, I've got to think of a video to do for the morning because I like my 7 a.m. releases. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat, please think of a topic. Please.
Well,
But if not, yeah.
Sad. What a letdown. Here's hoping no injuries.
Yay! Let's. What do we even do to Brendan Aronson at this point? Do we just sort of? Do we do what? Fun fact: throughout the Second World War, the most effective solution the Finnish population had to winning their bit of the war was meth. I'm not kidding. They give all of their soldiers like rations of meth. Do we do that with Brendan Aronson for the rest of the season and just hope he keeps running through the pain? Do we think that works?
Yeah,
It worked for the Finns.
yeah. Just keep him high on Haribos and meth.
At that point, do you need the Haribos? Or is it just...
Always, because he's American and so like needs something like a good boy, well done type of thing, you know.
So he's our little meth addict puppy.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't recommend giving meth to dogs. Don't do it. It's not very responsible.
I'll be honest with you, I wasn't particularly planning on it.
No.
Is this something you've got experience with? Is that...
No, my dogs would eat anything, but I don't try and drug my dogs.
My dogs would eat anything, and that's why they're really good at transporting cocaine.
No, I mean, my dog like has actually eaten. He's eaten a sofa. He's eaten a concrete step. He's eaten a tennis ball. He's eaten a tube of toothpaste and the tube. He's eaten a toothbrush, a bank card. Yeah, there's very little that my dog in his puppy time hasn't eaten. Yeah. He's half Labrador, so they eat everything.
Oh, I've got a 3/4 Dash and 1/4 Chihuahua, which means that you get the... Oh, you're really cute. Oh, there's a quarter of you that's just
Psychopath.
bred to be a prick. But he a lovely boy and big fan. Team Arlo for life. Also Team Iris for life. Matt, I can't link your channel. Why can't you link Matt's channel? What's going on there? I will find Matt's channel. Or I will try to find Matt's channel. There we go. And let's pop that in there. Whereas cats will only eat one specific brand of food. I don't find that with Iris. I find with Iris that she often tries to eat our food as well, which is really, really fun. I didn't know cats did that, but apparently they do.
Yeah, cats are often fussy.
Yeah. I would get a different pet. We'll close on this question then. In fact, we'll do one more quick question. Oh dear, yeah, we can get Andy gone. Sorry, I missed the last couple of ones that he'd sent. Bye-bye, friend. You won't be missed. Bosh. We'll do 2 more questions. One from Questions Corner. I know, we're bringing Questions Corner back on a 4-hour-long stream. Question 1 is based on this. If you could keep any Leeds United player as a pet, which would it be?
Dan James.
Very fair. Oh.
Patrick Bamford. I'll keep him nice and safe. He won't get injured anymore.
Wrap him in bubble wrap.
No one can hurt you now, Pat. No one can hurt you now. And finally, we will hop over to the place where we all know and love that I haven't got a banner ready for. We'll head over to Questions Corner. The first question that's popped in the chat, we will answer. And then we shall call the stream there after 4 hours or so. On which note, thank you for being in the stream if you've been... Hello, Iris.
Hashtag
Yes.
Team Iris.
You didn't say that for Arlo.
I'm hashtag Team Arlo as well, but Arlo didn't make an appearance, whereas I
That's a
feel
good
that I
point.
have to tell Iris that, you know, we're here for her.
That's a very good point. That's a horrible question, but do you like pineapple on pizza?
Nope, sacrilege. My daughter's half Italian. She would actually kill me.
I would eat it. Well, it's not bad. It's,
It's
all right. I
awful.
wouldn't choose it. If I had the choice, I wouldn't choose it.
It's... No, I don't... Not a big fan, I'll be completely honest with you. The Funky Jawa, that's a no thank you. That's a little bit iffy, and that's a timeout. But yeah, hope you all enjoyed the stream. If you did, please pop a like on it. That's always appreciated. Subscribe if you're not yet, or even be a channel member for more shenanigans.
I'm so tired.
Evie has been Evie. Matt has been Matt. I have been me. I had 2 Matts on the stream. I didn't even realize. I hope you enjoyed that. Maybe you've just gotten shorter and more of a beard. Maybe you're the same guy. You got more Australian. And we shall see you later. And this is the part where it takes a while